Yeah, your videos were expensive. There was never any room to f it up. Like when I f***ed up my videos, it was like, oh, shit, now we got to go buy 10 hamburgers again. When you f***ed up your video, you're like, we need another
Car.
demolished car and like Spitfire RPG, whatever the.
That was literally the ones. Yeah. We needed new rocket rounds and we needed another fucking car because of ups.
That's crazy. You sound like Hamas. You're out there. You're like, we need more rocket rounds. We got to do it all over again.
Like those rockets were $350 a piece, and I only knew where like 8 were in the country, and I had 3 of them. So
that sounds kind of cheap. $350 a piece for some reason.
Yeah,
seems like a good price.
$350 per rocket.
If they're small little rockets, they're for training purposes.
Oh,
so you've got to hit a target with them to get the explosion to go off right. So and the sight on that thing is not like a real sight. It's like
no, because I was wondering how you're paying for your food, water, and electricity, and all these rockets. It wasn't really adding up there for a second. But you were sharing that story. You were saying with Gator. You were right before. What was going on?
What was
there?
it?
It was
we're talking security. We're talking security.
You
know.
Looking for somebody for the video. So, yeah, I wanted to tase, pepper spray, and shoot someone with a rubber bullet. And finding somebody who's going to be the dummy for that is not easy. So I'm talking to Gator, my cousin, my first cousin, and I went to him first because I saw this as a money making opportunity. I was like, I will give you, and I started percentages is what I was offering him of the viewership on this video for like the first 6 months.
Nice.
And maybe it's gonna be several $1,000s.
Did he know? Like, was he like, oh, in FPSRussia?
Yeah, he knew how much money it is. I mean, he's been the cameraman the whole time. He knows the deal.
Okay, he knew. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I told him, I'm like, this is like $3,000, $4,000. I think I got like close to $5,000 that I was going to pay him to get tased, pepper sprayed, and shot. And he's just saying no. And part of it is I'd like to slide the money to my family, take care of him. But the other part is, come on, it's gonna be a great video. He's like, no, won't do it. All right, fine. We talked to a guy taking the garbage out from a Taco Bell in the parking lot. Yeah, hey man, come here. You wanna make some money? He's like, looked around all sneaky. What do I gotta do? I was like, well, I'm gonna make a YouTube video, and I always pull my phone out, show him like one of my videos. I show him like me on a tank or something. I'm like, how'd you like to be on TV? And you'll be the guy we test all this stuff on. He's like, how much? I don't know. How about $200? He's like, for sure. It's like 100% down. I look at my cousin like, you dummy. See what you've done. So I talked to my cop buddy. I'm like, hey man, I need that X26 taser you've got. Just the thing the cops wear. I want to shoot this guy. He's like, who are you gonna shoot? I was like, it's this black guy who works at Taco Bell. He goes, Leon?
No,
the
only one in your town.
He's like, no, there's more than one. But he knew Leon.
I met at that Taco Bell. Okay, yeah.
He'd had a run-in with Leon before, and so he said, I literally cannot. He's like, I've got paperwork on this guy. Like, I've arrested the guy that you're about to borrow my taser and shoot. He's like, that's all kind of crazy. We can't do that. I'm gonna get in trouble. So I ended up having to go to Jeremy. Jeremy, you want to make $300? And he sure did. So I tased him. I gave him 10 seconds of the X26 police taser. He cried like a man, manly tears. I pepper sprayed him with Saber Red. I shot him with a rubber bullet out of a 12 gauge, and then I tattooed him. I gave him a real FPS-Russia tattoo that he wears to this day.
Oh my God.
That's for life.
What did he dislike the most out of all those options?
Tattoo.
That's not even close to his worst tattoo.
Oh my God. But between the 3 options that he had to get hit with before the taser.
The taser's the worst by far.
Oof.
Yeah, like
I've never been tased. I can't say I have any experience knowing what it's like to been. I've never even been around someone who's been tased. I've been around bear mace. That's at the most. I've seen people get maced.
Well, I think I'd rather get tased than bear maced. Am I stupid for saying that, Kyle?
It's an interesting conversation because on one hand, the taser lasts 5 seconds. It's in 5-second intervals. I gave old Jeremy to because my adrenaline was going so much. I was so hyped for the shot. You know,
because he money's worth as well.
He dropped like a bag of shit. It was like just like in the movies. And you gotta remember, like, while I might be FPSRussia pretending like, oh yeah, I tase motherfuckers all the time. I've never held one of these things before in my life. This is the first time I've ever held one. So when he drops like a sack of shit, my adrenaline's going so much that the 5-second ride that it automatically puts him on to me is a split second. And I'm like, we got no footage. So I just gave him another squeeze. And you can see his muscles between his like thigh and his back all lock up and him screaming. And then if you listen close, you can hear, I had to doctor the audio because my dad is watching and he goes, Jeremy, are you okay? Because it looked bad. So yeah, the pepper spray lasts for like 30, 40 minutes of pretty serious agony. It sucks, you know.
That's
even
why
being in the vicinity of the bear mace, you get a little contact, you know, and it's like, oh, that sucks. A direct spray from like an inch from your eyes is, I've seen it happen, and it was not.
But it's like a manageable amount of pain, I feel like, to me. But the taser, on the other hand, everybody's always described it as just 5 seconds of hell. I've never been tased.
And couldn't you like have the potential to like release some like, I don't know, release your bowels or like piss yourself if you know like you get a mace, that's not happening. You know, you're gonna be in a lot of pain, but there's no chance of you like shitting yourself.
That was part of the prep for the video. I told Jeremy like to go to the bathroom. Like we don't want to make a mess out here in the yard, you know? Like that would be a concern.
You'd have to do these days. You're making that video today. You'd be like, make sure you eat a lot. We want shit. We want your shit. This is going up on kick.com, like live. Like we need you to be shitting yourself.
The shit video's on Rumble.
You said something earlier, and I have to get this out of the way early because like it's still, I think, like top one of the top clips for me online ever. And you said you had to stay in character. You know, you were committed, and when you had that door fly right by you.
But it's so funny you bring this up. I literally bring this up to him.
It's crazy to me.
Like I brought it up to him like the last 3 times or the last 10 times I've gone on PKA. And I always bring up the door, and you and I always talk about the door. But Kyle, like I literally talk about the door with Lynch. Like it comes up like once a month.
It's an important
like something,
internet
even
clip.
something crazy.
It's just,
I'll be honest, like that wasn't even like that. That's probably top 5 most dangerous, scary moments, but it's not like the one. It's not like
that's not the
craziest to me.
To you.
And to everyone listening, by the way, to everyone listening, obviously we're here with FPSRussia, and he blew up a car and a full-sized fucking truck door ninja start past his body by like 10 inches. And he's like chilling.
I think you look back at the camera. Don't you look back at the camera and you're like,
yeah, he does.
It's like perfectly done. I'm like, this is a perfect clip. This is a perfect clip.
He would have got cut in half and still.
You would have time to do that. Ugh.
See,
but what was the craziest one?
That's fascinating.
Well, it's just that. So it's always explosions because shit can happen. Stuff's flying around, right? But there was one where we were blowing up some toilets, and that porcelain breaks off in these scalpel sharp chunks that are heavy, and you can't predict. And I heard some of it scatter through the field behind me, meaning it flew past me. You never saw it though. Like it's one thing to see a truck door go past you. It's like, whoa, there it went. But when you hear bullets whiz past you, essentially, it's like, oh my God.
A grenade, basically.
I had a 50 BMG round in a come back and hit me in the chest and land in my lap, like not hot to the touch, like hot potato in my hands. Like there it is, a bullet that just came back and hit me. And one time I was blowing up some 55-gallon barrels at really close range with explosives in them because my main target had broken. And those were exploding into shards that were flying past me. You don't see that stuff on camera. Most of the stuff that looks dangerous is meant to look dangerous, but be safe. It's the stuff that you don't even see that I just happen to hear whiz past me. You're
still not going to that door. You had to have a moment where you're like, in your head, you're like, oh, that was.
Honestly, when something like that would happen, my main thought would be, I hope this is like, first of all, cool. Yeah. That was fucking awesome that happened. I got that on camera.
Yeah, you got the shot, yeah.
I've got the footage somewhere. Like I had paid $6,000, I think, for 24 hours of slow-mo cam, and they were there that day filming. So I've got that at like 1,000 frames per second, 10,000 frames a second, all sorts of angles and stuff. But it was cool that happened on that day, and I had all that footage. But I also have always worried that, you know, it's too far, and they're going to be like, oh, you can't. They're going to get a strike, and then they're going to look at some other video that's kind of similar.
Right,
and give me, I'm going to have like 6 strikes, and then now I fuck up what's like $6,000 a month of income of long tail that's just been like it'd be a big deal, you know?
No, sometimes like I'll put up a video and YouTube will be like limited ads, and I'm like, I could appeal this, but like, am I really in a place to appeal this? If they start to look at some of my videos, I might lose a lot here. So I'm just gonna accept that and not
take the L.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
It's kind of like the video, like the old collabo, like the original, where you guys go through the drive-through. Like I look at that clip and I'm like, is this like, what is this like? Back then, it was fine. You know, the video.
I don't think it was fun.
You gotta say,
no. It's fine.
To the people listening, like we pulled up, like pulling up to the
Show
drive-through.
I hope you
We'll run the clip. Yeah, we'll run the clip. Yeah.
By the way, I apologize. I don't have my camera. I some kind of a tech issue on my side and like the software. So I really
no,
do
I've had it
apologize.
too on my website. Yeah, guys, we had we tried for like 30 minutes to get it going here, but anyways,
I'll figure it out next time. I am very sorry.
Yeah, listen, guys, we're here with Binge Eater Podcast, me, the Sauce Boss, Big Lynch, and we got FPS Russia, FPS Kyle. Are you just Kyle or FPS Kyle?
You know,
what do you like? Who are you right now?
I think, you know, it started with FPS Kyle before there was FPS Russia, right? Making my Call of Duty and like YouTube Let's Plays and stuff. But yeah, I don't really need a moniker or anything. I don't think. I think we just go with Kyle.
Just Kyle? And you can't, well, on this podcast, we can't call you Big K because that's me.
Oh, okay. You're Big K. Is it bad that I immediately know what the K stands for?
I only made the joke because it's you. That's we went up to the, even just Kyle, but making FPS Russia videos, pulling up to the drive-thru with a gun out was just like, it was a next level.
Well, I think it was a Desert Eagle, wasn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a 357 target model with the like extendo barrel.
Yeah, that's that clip. I just was like, I get curious, but we are going to throw it up. We're going to show everyone on YouTube.
Dude, legendary Kyle moments, clips, all that. I don't think anything. And I was just talking about this with Freddie the other day. We were playing Call of Duty. Being in the Call of Duty commercial must never be forgotten. It must never be forgotten. It was the most amazing fucking appearance to see like YouTubers in some shit where you're like, why the fuck they put YouTubers in there?
I think I just did too, right? Like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But this was a pocket of time where they got the right YouTuber to be in the thing.
Oh,
the right. Like, you pulled up, it was like FPS Russia
So
in the
hyped.
fucking jet, right? It's not like
no. Downey Jr. was in the jet. I had the quad rotors, right? I think I had
Right,
like, remote control. Like, yeah, Downey Jr. got the fucking Harrier jet.
but it's not like you know, like a Mr. Beast being in the commercial. It doesn't hit quite the same, bro. Like Mr. Beast isn't getting fucking blown up doors rolling up to McDonald's with the Deagle. Like, that's for real. He's bullying other female YouTubers. I'm getting around about
No, I thought that I was really appreciative of that. I don't remember exactly how they contacted us, but there was a moment where that all fell apart. I was at an Outback Steakhouse and we get an email and on the phone and they're like, yeah, whole thing's off. No commercial for you. I'm like, what for? What the fuck? We're all good here. And they're like, we found that you made a Call of Duty hate video. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was right at the end of Modern Warfare 2. Everyone had decided it was a shit game and everyone was breaking their copies. Like everybody was like finding creative ways to break them, you know, cooking them in a pan, melting them, just snapping them. Well, of course I shot them, right? You know, I threw the game out and I got a shotgun in each hand and blew the fucking game up. They're like, yeah, that Call of Duty hate video you made. And I was like, let me show you how many hours I have in Modern Warfare. And I showed them I had like 30 days or something like that. and they that literally changed their mind when I showed them how much time I had in Call of Duty. I was like, I don't hate your game. I've just played it for longer than your pets have been alive. Like,
and what's funny about that, back in that time, game developers didn't understand yet. They were still like, we're talking like 2012, 13, something like that. They don't know they only started to grasp it recently that if you're a game developer and you have everyone in your subreddit being like, fuck this game, it's fucking trash, they're not doing anything right, you have a thriving gaming community. That's what it looks like. What's the biggest fan look like of Call of Duty? He's shotgunning the game because he also knows Modern Warfare 3 is coming out shortly. He put fucking thousands of hours into it. They didn't recognize that stuff. Game developers and companies recognize that now, but it's funny that it's like, oh yeah, you tweeted that you didn't like this or something. And it's like, bitch, that's how we communicate.
Yeah,
that's how we get you to be better.
My thing was always just to be like, create a viral video. Like early on, viral videos were this thing that just kind of happened, and it was like, what does it take to make a viral video? And it was trying to duplicate that on purpose and make them intentionally. And part of that is upsetting people. Part of that is mispronouncing word. I watch Chael Sonnen a lot. I don't know if you follow MMA and much. That man knows how to pronounce those fighters' names. He's mispronouncing them so that you'll go in the comments and help him in the algorithm by phonetically spelling fighters' names for him.
You know who else does that? Keemstar.
Sure.
All the time. I've
always been on the cutting edge of the algorithm on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm curious though. Random question. Well, two things actually, two-parter. One, you're at Outback Steakhouse. What did you eat?
Oh, I always get the filet mignon from Outback. The not the 6 ounce, I get the 9 ounce. I think
you don't fuck with the blooming onion when you go there.
Well, you start with a blooming onion, but okay, I think the Aussie cheese fries are better.
I just wanted to know that it was there. Oh, with the cheese fries?
Yeah, they have Aussie cheese fries. Bacon and ranch with some green onions. It's the way to go.
But I'm gonna have to do that the next time.
It's much more fattening. It's $12.99. DoorDash minimum's $12. It's an easy decision.
You DoorDash an Outback cheese fries?
You're goddamn right. They get here, they're gonna be all sweaty.
Yeah, I know. Me and Justin have this issue all the time because I'm like, yeah, let's Uber Eats it. He's like, I don't want to eat anything that's been in anyone's car in the front seat or on the floor of the front seat. But I'm a big Uber Eats guy, and he's like, just place the order, I'll go pick it up. I'm not fucking. It's not going in some stranger's car.
Chinese, I especially get like because they package everything up so well, and it doesn't matter if it gets a little cold. You can just heat it up.
So Harley was telling me that
there's some
dirty.
Good ones.
The kitchen's already dirty. Like you've already been compromised at the kitchen. So what's the car gonna do?
Oh no, I'm saying you gotta He's saying because like he'll be like, oh yeah, it's getting in the car, and I'm like, who cares about the car? These dirty people have already touched the food and like they put their fingers on it. The guy in the car is like, he's not even gonna get to look at it.
Yeah, they tape everything up. I mean, if you're worried about low class people handling your food, then you probably should.
First of all, I'm not worried about that. But what's funny is that this whole tape up situation, like you guys have a lot of confidence in the tape. Like I just don't like.
I have a lot of confidence that an Uber Eats driver is going to be carrying the specific McDonald's tape so that he can like, sip my drink and then put a fresh tape back on the bag.
You joke? I saw that video. I saw this lady.
Thank you.
She's like Uber Eats. She opens the McDonald's bag and she goes, "White motherfucker, don't tip me," and sprays Raid all in the bag, like roach spray. Then she has McDonald's tape. She like tapes it all up, and it's like, I haven't seen that.
He does send me that shit all the time. He'll send me like a guy like shitting, and you see that he has his DoorDash bag with him, like, in the shitter.
It's like I like how you think even McDonald's has like the tape consistency when they can't even get your fucking sauces correct when you go through the drive-thru. The amount of times I have to double check the bag every time, especially at McDonald's. I feel like they're the ones that always forget.
McDonald's has new sauces. Do you aware of this?
No,
we probably don't have the same as you. But
we got some cool shit down here, man. We've got this spicy jam. It's like a spicy grape jam, and something called Mambo sauce, which is like I don't know.
What's the jam for?
This spicy jam sounds very interesting.
For nuggets. It's really good. But the way they're advertising is they're trying to get people to put like the sauces on the McChicken and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like how are you going to enjoy McDonald's new meal?
Oh, wait, I got I have a question for you. Yeah, it's the sweet and spicy jam. What's your favorite fast food?
Like restaurant? Yeah, like Chick-fil-A down here just owns. Like I saw a graph the other day that compared Chick-fil-A's amount of business they do versus the other top 5 or 6 chicken places, and it's crazy. Like they just run everything. And I'm in Georgia, like home. This is where it was invented, in Atlanta, so they're everywhere, and it's really good.
Yeah,
I gotta go to Chick-fil-A.
No, it's great. Chick-fil-A's fire. I think that's a very solid number one fast food. Chick-fil-A, what's crazy is they move. Like I went to one in Texas. There was 3 drive-through lines, and all of them were full. And they just had like a little fucking like squadron of people with iPads taking the orders.
Yeah,
and the cars were just going up, getting the thing, and it helps that there's only like 3 sandwiches there.
And describe the squadrons of people. Like those people are like They look like they're white kids, like 19 to 25. They're good looking. They got khakis and button ups on.
Yeah,
and they are happy to be there. They tell you to have a blessed day.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And I do every time. It's like magic.
If I'm pulling up to Chick-fil-A, I'm very happy. Things are good. The weather's probably nice. Like,
Dude,
I'm probably
they're not
somewhere
fucking up the sauce.
Let me tell you,
for sure.
here's how you know that's the best fast food. If the Burger King had come out against gays, if we found out that every Whopper, like 8 cents, went to Nicaragua where they're hanging homosexuals just for existing, that would have been it for the King. No more Whoppers.
Right.
I don't care if it's flame broiled or not. McDonald's would be LGBTQ, like everything. Like we stand on the right side of history at Mickey D's. Like there'd be a whole thing. Ronald McDonald would come out and there'd be a sketch where he beat up the Burger King for being a bully.
Yeah.
But Chick-fil-A can send millions of dollars to those African countries where they literally make it like illegal to be a homosexual and do awful things to people. We keep eating that chicken.
Yeah.
We keep eating that chicken. We don't even talk about it anymore.
Yeah, we separate the art from the artist, and the chicken's that good. Absolutely. I remember like Chick-fil-A was they were very homophobic. They did something. I forget what it was, and they had and people were going to Chick-fil-A's and they were like kissing in front of Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, is this really like the protest, or are you low-key putting yourself in vicinity of a Chick-fil-A where it's like, well, we kissed in front of it now.
Meanwhile, Chick-fil-A plays 3D chess. They're like, oh, what beautiful couples. Do you want to try our new like frozen lemonade? And they're just giving them free food and stuff. They don't care. I don't care on the ground level. It's those corporate guys who are sending the money overseas.
Yeah.
Those corporate guys. Don't get me started on money overseas, bro. Not this month, bro.
Really? I wonder what side are you on with the whole kerfuffle in the Middle East? I wonder.
Well, it's really it's definitely a kerfuffle. Well, the one thing that I could point out is that, like, obviously you're familiar with Israel has their defense system, the Iron Dome, and whenever rockets come over, it shoots it down.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to Freddie. It's so funny. You and Freddie, like my first YouTube friends, my first YouTube colleague friends that
I've spoken to him in years.
I was gonna ask, like, when the last time you spoke. I think I'd gone 6 years like not talking to him, and I just started talking to him again because
I used to have him on Skype, and I remember like 2011 or 12, he sent me this clip that he's like, look at these pyrotechnics that we just did. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, because I hadn't figured out how to do fireballs yet. And I immediately went out the next day and I was like, Freddie W can do this shit in fucking LA. We can do it in my backyard in Georgia, boys. Okay, we don't have any limitations. Let's figure this out, get some fireballs. And like the next week I had fireballs. And I was like pissed off that he had figured out how to make fireballs.
Yeah, he's but just both of you guys, like my first colleague friends, and I was talking to him and I was talking about the Iron Dome. Every time like a $350 rocket gets launched into Israel, this thing that they have shoots out a rocket to take it down, to dismantle it, and then just metal falls to the ground instead of an explosion. And I found out that every one of those rockets is $100,000 about. So I was saying to Freddie, I was like, how crazy is it that in your entire life you probably bought 2 of those?
Yeah.
Fully like you fully paid for 2 of those. Like, if you did it mathematically, it might come down to something like that. And like that's what you did. You like just 2.
I didn't think they were that expensive. They have so many. Here's the thing about America and the military industrial complex. We've got like 8 different systems for shooting shit out of the air that we don't like. And like every time, we've been seeing them a lot lately with the thing in Ukraine, obviously with the Patriot system. I saw something called the David Sling, Iron
the Patriot
Dome
system, by the way.
That's the American one that's like that's been shooting down those hypersonic missiles in Ukraine.
Yeah,
those are
when you say David Sling, everyone knows that that's an Israeli weapon.
You got
like this biblical fucking.
Oh, it's sick. I wish our name. Look, we've got cool names for our weapons. The Apache attack helicopter. That's sick. All right, nailed it. But David Sling,
I like names, bro. I like Abrams, Thompson. I like an American name.
I like that too. I like all of our look. I'll admit, maybe it's just the age I'm at. I'm getting that Fox News age where I'm just like, yeah. The way I view this thing, and I'm kind of alone on this little hill on PKA, my little show. Those two are both like, either stop sending the money to Israel, or because I know Taylor just doesn't like us being. He's more of an isolationist, I think, is his idea, and I can understand that.
Me too.
But I've always, I grew up in the South, around a lot of evangelicals. We see I say we loosely because I'm not religious. I'm, I guess, agnostic. If I had to put a word to it, but we see Israel as the Holy Land and the Jewish people as God's chosen people. That's sort of like been programmed into my people for a long time. And I think that a lot of Americans feel the same way. And whether or not that's what's motivating you, a lot of people just see there's a right side and a wrong side to the thing. And to me, it's kind of obvious which one. And I don't like what I'm seeing in Palestine with all those dead children. It's hard to look at.
Yeah.
But I remember watching the History Channel and them talking about the Brits bombing Dresden during World War II. And I would say that when the Germans came over during the Blitz and bombed the shit out of London, no one said, oh, wait a minute, you only killed 3,000 Londoners. Don't kill so many people in Dresden. They said, go get them. And they bombed those cities into the ground. They firebombed them. And there wasn't a big outcry about it then. And it was, I don't know. That's what got rid of evil last time.
Yeah, it is like, it's because war is so different now, especially with people, how much we get to see it and witness it. And
with no delay.
Yeah, no delay. I mean, even speaking, you're talking about like your Call of Duty Let's Plays and stuff. Like I'm a sicko and sometimes I'll be watching combat footage and it's cut like a Call of Duty highlight reel.
Yes.
It's like
Grizz montage.
Yeah, it'll start off with like a splash screen of like, 2nd Infantry, 2nd Battalion, something like it'll be like a whole logo and stuff. And it's like dudes in Ukraine. And then it's just, they're chasing after a guy trying to escape on a motorcycle with like a drone.
Yes.
Like it's like literally a Call of Duty clip. And I'm like, this is crazy.
I've watched.
You didn't
so
have
much.
that. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's an illness. I have to stop.
It can't be good for your soul, right? I've seen so much death.
Definitely not.
Between the Ukrainian conflict, especially because everybody seemingly has a GoPro, and it is some crazy fighting. I've seen that first person like fighting point of view with a guy. They're shooting each other with AKs, and you see the Russian. You see him like the bullet impacts into his side. You see him drop. All sorts of crazy. I've seen people throw grenades back. I thought that was some video game shit. press right bumper to throw that shit back. Like they're picking them up and throwing them back.
And like the whole topic of like war being different and stuff like that. I think like, there's a lot of nuances to both sides and all that. But my biggest thing is if I would like to hope and imagine that if I were like Team A and Team A was like, we got to go into their fucking houses, take their fucking babies and bring them back here, I think I would question how important this is to me.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is that I'm doing, and that means a lot, I would question how important is it to me that I'm going to go and I'm going to like take babies and bring them back. Even if someone, I can't imagine like, I mean, Lynch, you are a father. If someone went, and I don't know your answer, but like if someone went and killed your baby, will you go and kill their baby? Not them. Are you going to go and kill their baby to balance it out? Like, I mean, you're a father. I'm not a father. I don't have that, but I'd like to think that's not what I would do.
No, I don't. That isn't like my instant thought when you say that. It's like, definitely no. The easy answer.
Well, it's a test question. You failed. You're a bitch. You've dishonored your family.
You got to go with those babies.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you know right now. You killed my baby. I'm killing 3 of your babies. It's going to be awful. I'm finding minority babies in your country.
I'm going to stand on my
what happened here.
Yeah.
They're going to have to build statues for the children that I take from you.
It's a statue of you made of babies.
The child thief from America.
Because the thing is, like, this is what's special about this scenario here is one side, the way they are motivating people is not necessarily an eye for an eye, because revenge isn't going to, and they're not necessarily crazy people, or they're not necessarily evil people. They are believers, and they believe in something that highly, or the way they've translated it, highly encourages them to sacrifice themselves and potentially kill their own people, but that's a good thing for them and a good thing for their own people with what they believe. And that's a level of motivation can make people perform actions way more than doing it for your country, doing it for your family. If you really believe that this is going to get you to paradise and going to get your fellow believers to paradise, even if they're your own collateral damage, then that's a level of motivation that we've never really seen exist in the modern world. And my takeaway is, even I don't care who they are, that's the most anti-human thing out there, to sacrifice yourself or to do something like that because you believe in the afterlife taking care of you.
That makes sense. I can wrap my head around it.
Yeah, that's something that, like, yeah, me too. I could imagine being brainwashed, quote unquote, with that getting me to go and be like, well, now I have to go kill that baby, and I don't care if I die while doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
as a person, like, with what I've been growing up with, and how, like, you know, I'm fortunate to be born here at this time and all that. Like, if I have to go and take babies hostage, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this whole thing.
You know, you say that, and like, I'm all jokes aside, I probably wouldn't be the child monster of like Bolivia or whatever in reality, but like, I mean, some of those like CIA sheep dipped military units that they drop into Pakistan or something, like, yeah, this house. Well, who's in there? We think it might be the guy. Which guy? Go get him. It's like, there's a lot of that going on.
For sure. And it's so, war is like a fucked up thing, but there's a difference between like, go in there, take his baby, put it in the oven, send a message. There is when I remember when people were like, oh yeah, they cut off the heads of babies, and people were like, where's the proof? And there's like, there's no proof. It was just a baby in the oven. They're like, oh, exactly. So there's no beheaded baby. Like, there is like this level of moral equivalence being applied to things that it's just like, well, someone killed the baby, or someone took the baby hostage, or like, you know what I mean? Like the moral equivalence is all out of whack now with what is what, and people judging what.
And it wasn't just Hamas. It's right. There's rightly zoning in on Hamas because that's the best narrative. But Hamas would tell you that some of those atrocities were committed by just regular civilians who wanted to kill Jews as well. And that's what it seems like as well. It seems like there were some guys who had like vests on and communication and maps and had their shit together. This was a plan. And then there were just some guys in street clothes with flip-flops and an AK. Like, it seems like that there was two groups, and they'll never tell that story because it doesn't look good for anyone to tell that side of the story. But I'm almost certain that's what happened from all the videos
I watched a lot of videos that day, and I think what really connected to me it was so bizarre, and it just goes to show how like just how fucked up it is growing up and like desensitized to which things, was I watched the videos on October 7th of like Hamas or people coming in Hamas. Like, once you hold a gun or do a thing like that, it's Hamas. But like, so they came in, there was a car and there was all these dead people, and it was so terrible. And my eyes were looking at it because I've played video games, movies, combat footage. I'm watching, I don't think anything. But this like middle-aged fat Palestinian dude who was there with them that looked like he could have been like one of my friend's dads, starts rummaging through on a dead body, and he takes a baseball cap off the dead body and he tries on the baseball cap and walks away. And like, that for some reason like hurt me the most.
He wanted a trophy.
But he wanted a trophy. Like, there's that aspect of it, but also like I felt so bad for him.
Oh.
He like took this hat like it was a baseball cap, and it was like he's there and there's just dead bodies everywhere, and it's like this baseball cap is like, oh, this is a cool hat. I need a hat. I don't have a hat. I don't have money to get a hat. And I don't even fucking know someone who sells hats. And I was just like, oh, we're so fucked up over there with this. Like, this has been so fucked up. And I mean, I think you know,
that's why I'm not religious. I just don't, you know, I can't believe in an all-knowing, all-seeing God that's a good guy. If with all the stuff that happens, the world's just so awful, man. So many terrible things. And it's,
bro, if
like you said,
gods, like, dude, let them step up. Like, let them fucking battle in the sky and let us all watch. Why are we doing it, bro? You guys are the gods. You guys fight. Why is it gotta be us? I would love to see the gods fight in the sky. We all die at the end of it, but still.
Maybe.
True.
I don't know. We were talking about this is fucking dark. Maybe we don't need to talk about the impending World War III, because that's what it feels like, by the way. It feels like we're closer to World War III right now than at any time during my lifetime.
I agree.
I'm like 36, 37.
I agree.
Because, you know, the things with the Ukraine stuff in Europe, and then there's also stuff going on in Africa and the Sudan. It's a crazy war there where like
Iran,
two generals,
China with Taiwan, like it's like all the pieces on the board are in this place where it feels like we're really close.
Marvel's falling apart. These are signs.
We're one Kanye speech away from shit hitting the fan.
Dude, Kanye, one thing you can't say, look, this is my favorite Kanye joke, always ahead of his time. He had that anti-Semitism. He had it locked and loaded 8 months ago. If he'd waited and came out with that today for the first time, he keeps his shoe deal. He keeps that shoe deal. Yeah. No problem.
Apparently Adidas knew that's how he felt for a long time. Weren't you saying?
Yeah, I saw that there was like reports that he was referencing some things you definitely shouldn't be talking about in meetings, at like Adidas meetings, and they sort of knew it and were like,
you know what's annoying? You know that he spoke about the things that he mentioned were things that it's like he's not wrong. Like it is annoying. I would imagine if I worked at a company and I was there and I was like, okay, I got these pictures of Hitler and his the SS, and I just want you to take a look at what they're wearing here, and people would be like, this is so inappropriate. I'd be like, why is this inappropriate? We're talking about clothing. There's a clothing company. Why can't we talk about one of the nicest uniforms ever made?
Yeah.
Why are you gonna block off the conversation now? Because it's a bunch of Nazis. Yeah, I love the guy. He's great. I like everything he's about, but that's what I'm talking about right now. I'm just talking about his shirt. Look at his shirt.
I think Kanye's real beef, if I had to guess, what it seems like, he's definitely bipolar, and that's part of how his genius works, if you want to call it a genius. He's definitely fucking amazing at making music. But I think that they send him to doctors, and all those doctors just happen to be Jews. And then
in LA.
It's like every time he has an issue, it's a Jewish person. And he's like, God damn it, 2% of the population, 100% of my motherfucking problems.
But what me too, though. But me too.
You know, and eventually he's just like, I think his wife's got a black boy, or not a black, I don't know where that, I just think he saw too many red flags, and eventually he bit, because he is a crazy person, clearly. Mm-hmm. But again, always ahead of his time. Yeah. I was shocked to see the amount of people in the streets with Palestinian flags, not just in the U.S., because that checks out.
You think that checks out
all
in
of
the
Europe?
US?
Oh yeah.
Why do you say that?
Oh yeah. I don't think the Gen Z has really any love for Israel. I mentioned why I do personally. It's sort of like, I don't know, I grew up and thinking of Israel as the good guys, thinking of them as just the Jews as the good guys from the Bible. They were usually the bad guys in the Bible, to be fair, but like there was one Jew in there that was like a great guy, and he kind of won me over. And
they're not going to bother you. They're not going to bug you. Well, they might bug you, but they're not going to hurt you.
They got Jesus. and I don't know. It just seems like there's definitely a lot of, I think there's a lot of isolationist mentalities, for one thing. And there's definitely sort of an anti-white, anti-colonizer sort of mentality. So I think a lot of those people boil that Palestinian thing down to fucking back in the day when England drew the lines up or whatever, white colonizers coming in and telling brown people go over here and you go over here and setting up an apartheid state. And they look at it that way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
which is definitely a way to look at it.
I definitely noticed when the Kanye stuff was happening, like, because we like live, we're online more than probably the average person. You just see like there certainly was a rise in some interesting comments that were being thrown away. And this is like during the Kanye era of time when he was just, unhinged. So it doesn't surprise me, I guess.
I also think the demographics of Europe have and Scandinavia have drastically changed in the last 25 years because of the United States. The United States and the wars that we created in the Middle East and the destabilization there meant that you've got millions and upon millions of people flooding into those places. So when you look at Sweden, like 18 or 20% are Arab now. Like
Yeah.
what?
I have a strong one thing that's definitely changed for me politically over the last, half decade. Relax, Lynch. I'm not gonna say you're crazy.
I thought you were gonna be like, you're also
the
the Fox News hole now. That's where you're at.
No, it's not that. It's just what I don't stand for anymore. Is I don't like when people disrespect Canada, and I don't like when people disrespect the United States of America. I spend a lot of my time. I'm born in Canada, raised in Canada. I go to the USA all the time. Of course, there's problems. Of course, it's not like it has the most beautiful history, but not a lot of countries really do. But man, USA, I love it. I got issues in Canada with the price of houses and stuff like that. Issues that occur, but I don't like when people disrespect the USA or Canada or even disrespect its history. Even if the history isn't right, or if that guy turns out he was kind of an asshole, I don't like kind of like tearing down what the history was, because one, I think that's important, and I don't like that it's so normal now for people to be like, fuck Canada, this place sucks, fuck the USA, there's so many beautiful places to be in the world. My gut reaction right now these days is I was like, so go. Shut the fuck up and go. Don't talk about it. Don't sit here and bitch on social media about how Canada's fucking up your life. Just go. And I always try and think, there's this guy I saw on TikTok, and he was like, it's so funny to like talk about. I saw it on TikTok, but it was just like some random loser dude. And he was like, bro, Canada is so stupid. How much it costs money. You could make like 5 to 10K in a month, and like if you were making that, why not just go and live somewhere like in Asia or the Middle East? You could live like a king. You stay here and you spend all your money on taxes and all that. And all I could think about is I look at him like, this guy gets no bitches. That's literally what this is about. He goes and he talks to women, and he says some weird, Andrew Tate type shit. And they're like, that's not an appropriate way to talk. And he was like, these fucking lib bitches. Bro, if I was in the fucking Middle East right now, they wouldn't even be able to say shit back.
Oh my God.
Why am I even fucking wasting time with these bitches? You can't I think I always try and understand. I'm like, what's really your problem? I understand money, inflation for sure. But this is a great place.
Look, I agree with you 100%. I don't like the disrespect. I think that, the United States and the allies in general, I saw a sign yesterday, and I think it said, you're either white or you're right. And on the white side were the flags of Canada, the United States, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and another that I can't think of right now. And on the right was like the Palestinian flag, like maybe every Arab flag, maybe Russia or not Russia because they're not white. But I was just like, how is that getting any traction on Reddit? Like how can people support just hatred and bigotry and racism just right there? There's no nuance to it. It's just right there. It's absurd that people feel that way. I don't get it. However, we were looking at Ukrainian real estate last night just for shits and giggles, and my goodness, it's like remember back in 2010 when $50,000 would get you a house.
Yeah.
That's what it's like in Ukraine. Like I was looking at it and it's wild. First, I looked at like, how far does a good old fashioned American dollar go in Ukraine these days?
Good question.
And it's funny. If you want like Levi's jeans, they're like $4 cheaper because they got to import them from the U.S. They
and Levi's does not drop in price. It's been like 125 years. They do not drop.
Still $45.
Blue jeans, and also I didn't realize it, but blue jeans is like something that's not allowed like in like communist China. Like there's like a lot of places like North Korea. You can't wear blue jeans. That is the most.
That's American culture.
It's true. Blue jeans are so American, but we
invented them and the Ziploc.
Expensive.
But everything else was really cheap. Like, gasoline was expensive because we do everything we can in America to make our fuel fucking cheap. That's a must if you're going to be the president of this country. But everything else was so cheap. Like, I don't know, like a pound of onions was like 10 cents. You know what I mean? And then down the line, everything was incredibly cheap. And then we started looking at houses. I think the first house that popped up was like $1.4 million. It looked like a $12 million house. It looked like something on the cover of a magazine or something. But then when you got all the way down to $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, they were like modern homes set back in these gated communities that looked really nice. I don't know. I think that war is going to be over next year. I think old Donald Trump's coming back into the White House, and he's gonna let them know that the bank accounts run a little dry. I would like to see the alternate reality of Ukraine and Israel. I just want to see the alternate reality if he was in charge. Because man, the things he's been saying are like he's gonna win.
I think he has an incredible chance. Because, I mean,
but do you think that's because
I think I'm not speaking for myself necessarily, but I know that a lot of Jewish voters have switch.
Oh yeah,
like they've switched from the
and
left.
Importantly, a lot of those incel fucking far left shitheels are just disinterested, or they're looking toward a third party candidate because they won't vote for him because he's bombing the shit out of Palestine. Like he's losing votes and sending votes to the other side at a time where he's already trailing in 5 out of 6 of the battleground states, and he's only ahead by 2 points in the 6th. I've got a lot of money bet on this. I started betting like 2 years ago that Donald Trump would be the next president, and a lot of people took my bets.
Okay, really? Okay.
Yeah,
you get paid out like 3 to 1 or something like that, or was it just straight up?
In some cases, yeah. But I've got a lot of bets. I like based on the election, and I don't know, just Donald Trump in general. Trump,
if he gets in, he's coming in, and he's going to be like, we're bombing everything. We're bombing everything, and but everyone's going to free, and then he's going to be like, but also we're releasing all the January 6th prisoners.
Oh,
and
he will do that.
He's just going to start a whole beef there, and he's just going to do, and it's going to be, I just think he's just going to like pull some triggers, make some.
Let me tell you what. So I think on the geopolitical side, he didn't go to war at all. He killed that Iranian general, which was fucking like nobody had done anything like that before. I don't know if you know the missile we used to kill that Iranian general while he was leaving the airport. It's got giant blades on it. It's like a non-explosive missile. It's just made to chop.
I've not heard about this.
It's made to.
Oh, it's a missile that targets a person. It's accurate within like 3 meters.
They hit his car.
And when it comes in, it breaks open and it has like basically a helicopter propeller and it cuts you up.
It's got 4 blades, like a broadhead from a hunter's arrow.
Did they come out on impact, or are they like just sitting? Are they out? What?
No, like as soon as they get there and they're at the person, it opens up and cuts them up.
Yeah, it's wild.
There's a video I saw in combat footage, so very crazy. But you heard like a bomb dropping, and then you just heard like and no explosion. And they like went out the tent, and a guy was there, and his leg was like cut off very high up.
Oh, I got the dealio on this.
Oh, I know what I'm talking about.
I know. Oh, of course, my friend. So you're not
fucking sick, bro. You're fucking sick.
So that was initially reported to be that like Hellfire assassination missile, but what it was actually, it was a 155 millimeter illumination flare that had already ejected its canister to illuminate. You've probably seen them shooting those crazy flares over
in
the city.
Sky, like that lights up the whole thing.
This was the remainder of that just kind of goes off and hits something. And that poor unlucky motherfucker
he
literally was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And a chunk of metal that weighs like, I don't know, 15, 25, 30 pounds or something came out of the air moving like fast and chopped his leg off like something out of a horror movie.
Really?
Like it's off next to him.
It was like, and that was the type of shit where I'm like, okay, I gotta get off my phone right now.
I downloaded that to everybody.
I gotta say something. I feel like I'm left out of every, like, we have all these guests come on and everyone seems to be on the same page with the content that they're catching in their feed here, or that they're getting. I don't seem to be catching that. I don't want to know. No, I don't want to. No, I'm not ready for it.
Take us out of here, bro. Take us out of here. I gotta get an adult right now. Get us out of here.
Me personally, it's just like it's crazy how many people, this is like low key how they consume this on the internet. They spend a part of their algorithmic days online going through this type of content, and like I understand morbid curiosity personally. Like of course, like everyone will think about, I don't know. It's just like I think human nature, but. If I come across a video that I'm worried about, and usually you can tell by the setting of the video and the quality of the video, I'm like, oh, and then I'm just like, I got to get out of here as fast as possible.
I'll be honest. At this point, there's not much. The only thing that bothers me, and this is it's pretty callous. I really don't like when I see innocent people hurt by like collateral damage, like anything like that. I really dislike and I shy away from. When I watch the Ukrainian war, I do not watch any Russian footage because I like to pretend like the Ukrainians are like 100-0 victories, like they've never taken an L once. I don't want to see but I'll watch them bomb a Russian armor personnel carrier and the Russians run out on fire, and I'll be like, "Yep, got them all, huh? Look at that guy! Can't get those flames out."
It's so crazy the level of desensitization that. I'll watch like something like that happen, and then you'll see the bodies, and it's from the sky, so it's an awkward perspective. And you look at it, and my body's not connecting enough. I have to really think about it. I'm not doing that. But then you show me like some grainy footage of like a woman with her kid in China walking by forklifts. And I'm like, X. Like
no volume.
No volume. I'm just far away. And I'm like, escape. Like, I don't want to see this. Like, I don't need
it's that grainy 480p video of an old lady on a Chinese escalator.
And I read about it, and the fact that they saved the kid and anyways, like I can't even.
Well, I feel like I've been catching like more stuff I don't want to see because I've been scrolling Twitter. Like Twitter was never a go-to for me. I used to never go there.
I don't do Twitter. I'm just on Reddit for the footage.
Twitter's crazy. You'll be scrolling on Twitter and you'll see
please stop. I don't want this. Get it out of here. You know, I don't.
Little scat play.
Yeah, you could get like that.
You see people who like are just there. They get ended in a video. It's unclear whether they died or not.
Hey, I mean,
it's like.
Hate speech is free speech, if you ask me. That's how I feel about it. I think you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. I mean, there might be consequences. Some people might not want to buy your pillows afterwards, you know?
No, I'm the same. Actually.
But I don't think there should be any words you can't say or will come and get you. That's my beef with Canada with the what do they call it? Something speech. Basically where you could prosecute you, or this is Jordan Peterson stuff, right? Where they sort of.
But that wasn't the government.
The guy in UK. No, but the guy in UK even was his name Count Dacula.
Oh my god!
He
taught the dogs to do the Hitler thing, and he got like 2 years or something.
Have you spoken to him before?
No, I never. On Twitter, I think maybe I've interacted with him, but we've
had him as a guest a couple times. He's wonderful.
Yeah, I watch his videos. I do watch his videos.
So do I. Yeah. Like who would have thought the guy who trained the dog to Sig Heil is actually a thoughtful, funny guy who makes good content.
And then another thing, even like so I don't agree with Kanye, or I don't agree with like Andrew Tate, but when they take them off online, I'm like, well, now that's a fuck up, because I imagine that when I was 15, I would have liked Andrew Tate. And if you take him away and tell me that's not appropriate, all I'm thinking is how important it is that I go and find it. And like now, I mean, Beavis and Butthead, what's important about them is Beavis and Butthead are not cool. They are like losers essentially. But when I watched Beavis and Butthead, I liked what they liked. Like one time Gwar came on TV, and it was one of the few music videos where Beavis and Butthead were like, oh my God, Gwar is awesome. Gwar is awesome. And I was watching that. And I was like, I like Gwar now. And I just saw one video. But like basically Beavis and Butthead, these two morons were influencers to me. Yeah. So if you took them away, which a lot of people did, it was like, you're not allowed to watch Beavis and Butthead became much more important to me now. So when you take away like an Andrew Tate or a Kanye or whoever it is that you agree or disagree with, that's not it. What we need is you need to have these people out there and available so their bad statements or silly thoughts can be questioned by everyone else, and it could be on a public scenario. And if their ideas are bad, then that will come to light.
They'll get found out.
When you censor them, you give that stuff power, and I don't really get behind that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Plus, I like racist jokes, and I don't like when people are scared to make the racist jokes.
I do, and not just racist jokes, just edgy humor in general. It could be a dead baby joke or a rape joke or like.
Better be good though.
It better.
That's
be
my
good.
only. That's all I ask. You're gonna make a racist baby joke? Better be funny.
Yeah. But I just think that hate speech is free speech. If you hate what someone is saying, then it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter. There's lots of things. Look, in my little fucking Kyle is Thanos world, I don't like it when people burn my flag. I really dislike it. So much so that Thanos Kyle might just
is it illegal?
Put you in prison
to
for
burn the flag, right? No, you don't have to burn the flag.
Absolutely not. No. It's illegal to burn other people's flags. It is not illegal here to burn our own.
You can burn the American flag?
Oh. Absolutely.
That's crazy. And that's the type of thing that does bother me very much as well. I'm not American.
No, when
burning the Canadian flag, burning the American flag. Like you
guys have such a sick flag, dude. Like nobody's even close. Everybody's like, how about red, white, and blue and in stripes? Fuck off. Come up with something original. You guys got that maple leaf. When I see that flag, I think fucking flapjacks, bearded men, cult,
sleep
snow,
over at my house,
moose, sure, all that stuff. You know.
I think. Are you allowed to go to Canada?
Nah, man. They don't even let DUI people in. Actually, I looked at it last night. I think that I could apply. And someone
do you need a referral or a reference letter? Because I would absolutely.
You are an upstanding Canadian. That's true.
Well, because I would do it. I would do it because the reason why I'm saying is like you got to come to my place. Like for real, you got to come stay at my place. I've offered it to people before. Not everyone takes me up on it. They're like, yeah, sure. But like people that I've met, friends of mine over the years and stuff, you come here, we'll have a great time. I could show you this whole city in like a weekend.
That would be very nice. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about that last night.
Girlfriend?
Dude, I haven't been without a girlfriend since like fucking, I don't know, 2007 or something. I've always got a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you know about Taylor's whole debacle, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that was.
I told him. Yeah. I told him. I said, dude, if you marry her, I'm gonna sacrifice a goat. I'm gonna say some dark words, and I'm gonna curse your marriage. And I did. And she strayed, and now I've got single Taylor, got my bro back. He's playing video games. He's about to start playing fucking Mortal Kombat with me and UFC 5. It's gonna be sick. No more wifey.
Yeah.
Did that.
Yeah. No, that's fucking that's so crazy. That's so that whole thing was
it was awful. Yeah. It's the worst. Like he told me that and I wanted to cry with him. It was such horse shit. Yeah. No, my whole take on that has always been I don't want to get married. I don't want no paperwork, but between us, I don't need to sign anything binding.
But you want a child?
Never. No. I've always known from like.
But it's a bizarre time to be asking though. Right now, it's like not a good let's have a child time where it's like World War III is about to happen. Maybe I better get.
I got dogs
out right now.
No, I got fucking dogs. I love my dogs. Those are my kids. I don't want any real kids. I really don't. I almost had one. We took care of that. I had two. Almost had two. Had to get that taken care of. That's years ago, though. You ever have an abortion?
You got bodies on you like that?
Yeah, man. Shit. Yeah, I got 2 abortions.
He's got bodies on him.
Yeah. I mean, I paid. Actually, like I guess like I paid for the abortion. I don't know like where I stack up in the culpability.
If I
didn't do it myself.
I mean, you're paying for a lot of fucking dead Russians right now. Actually, paying for a lot of that.
few $100,000 worth. I probably got a couple missiles on me. Yeah, I guess.
It's so funny. I was looking up, just with everything going on, I was watching videos about the Uyghurs in China and like
The what now?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Okay, careful.
The Uyghurs in China,
Like Vanilla Ice?
No, that's different. But yeah, I was watching like just in Darfur and in China these other like these cleansings going on.
Oh,
and my
yeah.
friend came in. She was like, don't start looking at genocides in other countries now just because your people are fucking up this week.
That's when they're like getting those ethnic Muslims, and you see them black bagged and
they come in the night. Like China comes in the night, and they take these people who are basically like Turkish Muslim. They speak Arabic. Like they name their children Muhammad, and they look like almost Chinese. Is that racist? Whatever.
Like Mongolian looking motherfuckers?
That's racist. They take them in the night, and people wake up and they're like, they don't even ask whose his name is or what, because they know that they're gone, and they could be gone for a year, 2 years, 14 years, and they're put into these re-education camps. And no one can see what's going on there. And everyone and the US is like, yeah, that's like these are like concentration camps vibes and stuff. This is genocide and ethnic cleansing. And China's like,
I'm okay with it.
China's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you
talking
about?
They sent me to a re-education camp. I should show you some of the literature I had to fucking do while I was in jail. Some of the fucking
do. Tell me, yeah.
Oh my God. It was like Drugs and Me, My Life of Crime. This little like
for weed.
Like this. Yeah. Oh, I had to go to this class, and everybody else in there was a drug dealer. Yeah. Everybody else in there was like, yeah, I used to sling on the streets. I
like needles for my drugs.
No, these aren't users. I'm in there with all the dealers because we're in federal prison drug class, right? There aren't like users here. These are the fucking, like, not the kingpins, but these are the street level dealers who would be moving pounds of meth and shit. And we're filling out this like pamphlet, like, how did my life on the streets affect my family? And I'm like, I didn't have a life on the streets, goddammit. I just like to get high when I watch Star Wars. This is such horse shit. Everybody around me was like cocaine and meth.
Yeah. Did you make any friends in there that you still talk to at all or anything?
So I've got there. I don't think you're supposed to have contact with other felons or something. I don't know if that's just something I heard in a movie once or something they told me post-trial, because that's a bit of a blur. But I did make friends in there, and they gave me, they're like, when you graduate, everybody signs your yearbook, like puts in best wishes, have fun at Texas A&M or whatever. It's like that when I got out of jail. Everybody's like signing this book, like putting their name in there. They put their number in, like their prison number, in case I want to send them some Rice Krispie treats and shit. I never did. All that stuff. So yeah, I've got my buddy's contact info, but I genuinely don't want to message him because there's like a 50-50 chance that he's back pushing meth in Texas, and I don't need to make contact with him, right?
And then all of a sudden they look through his call logs, you're there, and they're at your door, and they're like, you're getting fucking questioned.
Yeah, a guy who literally confessed to bodies to me while we were like working out together. Yeah.
So yeah, good idea. Maybe not making friends with the gang.
Well, I mean, you make friends while you're in there. Just probably don't want to reconnect on the outside or anything.
Do you ever fuck with mayonnaise on any of your stuff, by the way?
You know I love mayonnaise.
Yeah, you love mayonnaise?
Yeah, you know I love mayonnaise. Why are you bringing this up? Somebody told you I like mayonnaise?
I didn't know. I didn't know it was like a touchy
Somebody had been talking shit about my love for mayo. Is that what it is? I love creamy, delicious mayonnaise. There's nothing like that. That zip.
You like creamy and smooth, right?
I like Duke's mayonnaise. It's
Duke's mayonnaise. Lynch, you ever had Duke's mayonnaise?
No, but it's the second time it's come up, and I'm very curious about it now.
See, I was in Texas, and they were busting out the Dukes, and they were like, oh, Duke's mayonnaise, 100%. And I never really like back to mayo. I was like, mayo is mayo, and sometimes I get crazy, and I do a Miracle Whip, but Duke's mayonnaise has been coming up. But the reason why I brought it up is because Kraft, real mayo, which is normally creamy and smooth, they want to start using moist as like they want their like mayonnaise to be referred to as moist.
That's can't be testing.
Like
Though
with
they're
any
trying to,
it's like an anti.
they're trying to like change it. Yeah, exactly. Like they're trying to like be like, we've all been gaslit into moist being a disgusting word when it comes, but like moist is actually chill. And we're going to show you with our smooth and creamy moist mayonnaise.
The terrible.
I don't like moist at all.
No,
Like that's how you describe a baby. Like, this baby's moist. Here, take this from me.
it's how you describe your fingers. Like
It's
after
like when you have sex with a fat chick, she's like, oh, you're already sweating? Like, we just started.
if I go jogging, my
bitch is
ass,
moist.
if I go jogging, between my cheeks gets moist first. Yeah, no, they're really just making a move for moist to be their thing. They even have like in front of Kraft, they have a gigantic jar of mayo, and it just says moist on it. Like they're just pushing.
I don't like that one bit.
Yeah,
I do love mayonnaise though. I was on some subreddit, like I don't even know how I got there, but it was like a white people hate subreddit. It was for like everybody else to hate white people, and so I wanted to see what they were up to.
Me too.
And they were calling us mayo monkeys.
Yeah. I had a list of these white insults. Because I need to see like, because I'm like, yo, everyone's got to step it up because crackers.
You know the one I really don't like is colonizer. I remember when I watched Black Panther and fucking Bilbo gets off the goddamn spaceship or whatever, and they're like, oh, you do not need to bow to us, colonizer. We do not do that here. And it's like, really? Because like, really pissing me off, Marvel. I hate Marvel with such a fiery fucking passion. I'm so glad they're doing it poorly.
It's been like
Disney more than Marvel.
Well, here's the thing. Did you watch that South Park episode, The Pandaverse?
Of course.
Great episode. And like, it's so funny because I started off, I'm not like, obviously I've become much more of an extremist in the last 5 years. But like, I watched all these movies and they have, they'll have Rey and Finn, like a girl and a black dude in Star Wars, and people are like, oh my God, they're pandering. I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. And decisions happen and things happen. But then it gets to a point where I'm like, well, I never thought it was pandering or whatever, but now I find it to be like antagonizing in the sense that that there's a chunk of
confrontational.
There's a chunk of your fan base that feels this way. And I like the decision you made. I like it. But if I knew, and I'm sure every woman who watches this, if they knew that it was going to make that fat fuck that mad about it, we'd probably all be like, we don't need it. If this fat guy is going to be so mad about this, like shot with all the girls standing together being like, she's not alone. Like that was cool. That was cute. That was fine. I didn't mind. You didn't mind it. Yeah. Oh, he's furious. Yeah, we don't need it. It doesn't need to be there. It's not that important. And sometimes these decisions happen that I feel are not that important. Just and it almost feels like, this is gonna fucking antagonize these people, and then they're gonna rant about it, and maybe it gets us more things,
I remember when Captain Marvel came out and was not doing great, and Brie Larson, I think that's the actress, she said she was blaming like white dudes or like she said like white like dudes in America or something may not like it, but like girl power. She like said something like that at some award show or something. It was really antagonistic, and I was like, man, I tried to watch your movie. Like I rented your shit.
Yeah,
I paid the $6 or whatever and rented your movie. Mm-hmm. And it was the second Marvel movie ever that I didn't make it through. Like Sam Jackson couldn't carry that fucking movie.
No, I watched it. I watched it in theaters, and I left, and I was like, okay, Marvel movie. But when I rewatched all the Marvel movies from beginning to end, I skipped Thor 2 and Captain Marvel. Like I just didn't watch them. I was like, it's not important. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's I don't like when it's just so in your face that it's like, hey, this is how things are now. Get used to it. It's like, all right, well, I won't watch then. Whoa, don't come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, your stock price is now at like 45%. How does that feel? And like you're getting lampooned all over the internet.
Disney's like, we got to redo Snow White now completely from the ground up.
And
wait, is that what they're doing?
Will say, what do you mean? Oh, people will say,
yeah, they're
why do you care about Snow White?
They're redoing it. They're taking the they're like CGI dwarves into the movie.
Oh, they're fixing it? Yeah, they did. They weren't going to have the...
They're fixing it. They're like delaying it by a year. and they're fixing it.
Oh.
And because that image came out, there was like a leak, a photo of the
seven
people,
dwarfs, and they were like the seven diverse people or something.
yeah.
So Snow White
it's
and the seven diverse people.
Yeah.
Well, so it's not even Snow White. It's a Latina woman, right? Like it's a brown woman and seven disabled men. I love it. Sounds
video.
like a porn. I've seen that video. All right, it's called Stumps and Humps. I love that shit, and it was upsetting when I heard that. Not because I gave a fuck about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's just like you're clearly taking a little bit of white culture and being like, nah, put a chick in it, make it lame and gay. You know, like I don't get how you're gonna take dwarves out of it. And even Peter Dinklage, like the head dwarf, like he's the king of them now.
Yeah.
He was like, I like this decision because any part is for a dwarf. Like, but there shouldn't be a part that's only for dwarves or something like that. And it's like, dude, this and Christmas is all you people got. Everybody doesn't have Game of Thrones money. Like there's no way the rest of your people are feeling the same way.
Yeah.
You know that Ben Shapiro's company is making a non-woke Snow White.
Yeah,
like they're producing
with that girl that looks like she's related to him. She's playing
his sister.
Yeah.
Oh, did they make his sister Snow White? Because I'll fucking buy that.
Trust me, I would too. No, the girl that looks like him, not the one that's sitting on some cannons.
Holy shit!
What's her name? Brett Cooper. You ever see her? She does a comment section with Brett Cooper. She literally looks like Ben Shapiro, but apparently she's gonna be Snow White in his thing.
I'm surprised you didn't get Gina Carano.
She
that
puts up.
more...
Oh yeah. But then, she'll be. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what to do with her.
I remember, they did Little Mermaid, and man, it was funny to crack on that from the racist joke standpoint, because I remember like the actress couldn't swim.
Really?
So she's black.
Okay.
And it's like she couldn't swim, so they had to like do all this special stuff to make sure she didn't drown. And it's like she's playing the little fucking mermaid. And look, I got no poker in this fire or anything, but Woody made a good point, because his little girl is his daughter is Ginger, and he's like, that's the character that she liked growing up. She was this is the one that looks like me. And I guess that, and maybe that what's the one? There's another one with a redheaded chick who like shoots a bow or some shit. But I was like, Tangled. They took her childhood away.
No, I did see a thing that it like a lot of the color swaps that they've done on characters have been on what has normally been the Ginger character in stuff.
Yeah.
Like I saw this whole collage. It was like all these redheaded characters in shows and comics are just, those are the ones that they've like race swapped.
Do you watch Invincible?
But I didn't really care, because I don't give a fuck about any redhead person.
Really?
No, I'm joking. It's like my dad, my nephew. I am in the sun.
Do you watch Invincible?
Yeah, I didn't watch
Amazon?
episode 2 yet, but yeah, I watched Invincible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Kirkman, of course, the same guy that wrote Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
He said he's going to be able to get an episode out a year, which is a hell of an achievement in animation.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. That was the problem with One Punch Man. They had
a season out a year, you mean? Yeah.
A season a year. Yeah.
8 episodes, and they're like 1 hour long episodes too, so it's not like a 22-minute.
Yeah. I love that universe. I didn't know it existed, obviously, until like the show came out.
I never watched
that
it
universe.
before the show. I never read it before the show. Do you like The Boys?
Yeah, I watched Gen Z. Look,
Gen V. I like it a lot. That's what I was going to bring up.
Gen V is the most woke show of all time, and I'm here for it.
It's like exactly. There's a level to do it. Like Lynch, there's a character in the show. She uses blood, so she has to cut herself. And another character can shrink, but she has to like make herself barf. So it's like these it's like in school with like these young adult real life issues, and they apply it to like just like allegories. The Boys universe. Yeah, and it's just.
Let me tell you, the main character is the most woke character of all time. She is a black bisexual woman whose magic power uses her period blood to kill people, to kill the patriarchy.
Yeah,
that's her. Like
she has to cut.
I can't think of anything. Well, or she could just use her period blood, which is what I'd be like maxing out all the time. She killed her family in a period blood explosion when she was 12.
Yeah, that's right at the first episode. Not even spoiling. Which is also like That's so the boys like made scenes that you would tell you'd be like, yeah, and then the guy jumped in the dick and
in the dick.
And it was like something that you would share. So like the boys, Gen V, it's like, oh yeah, first episode, this girl kills her whole family with her pussy blood. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I don't watch it.
It's horny Harry Potter. That's what it is. It's like horny Harry Potter.
That was
there's
my Halloween
characters
costume this year. No, I'm kidding.
It's so rapey. There's characters who can like take your memory or make you forget where you are, and they'll just touch you and rape you. You'll wake up being like fucked for 3 days on camera or something because they can just do that.
There's a girl that shrinks really small, and this guy is like shrink really small and makes her like hug his dick. Like
a fire
and, like they show it, and she's like, it's just, and they show a lot of it. It's fun, and funny, and it's crazy.
All right,
and
that's my complaint.
But it has a level of wokeness to us that I'm like totally. It's like within the show. It's like I don't look at a show. I don't look at like a girl beating up a guy and go, oh, this is woke. Like I don't get caught. Like
if there's a reason for it, I don't mind.
You know what I don't think was woke, and I think was like, and I know that people didn't watch it maybe because at a glance they thought that. I loved Prey, the Predator movie.
Oh yeah,
with the and I know that like this was like the biggest Predator, and there's this like native girl like going up to it, not on her own, but still. I know some people were probably turned off about it. It was the best Predator movie since Predator, the first one.
So the only two things that I sort of maybe rolled my eyes a little bit, there was a part where it's like white American trappers who were like the real bad guys.
Yeah,
like the Predator has,
and the English people that were there that were like hunting. They had the guns and stuff.
Yeah, the Predator, of course, has like its code, and it's there to do a thing. It wouldn't kill a pregnant woman, for example, in Predator 2. But these French trappers, they wouldn't have any scruples about killing a pregnant native or maybe raping or pillaging or doing anything awful. So they make sure they get that out there. And then there's a scene where maybe like the dudes are like, you're just a girl. All right. There's no way your vagina is going to be able to do anything out here. And then they all get murked like immediately. But other than that, I thought it was like probably the third best Predator movie ever. I really like Predator 2 with Danny Glover. I like Danny Glover.
It expands a lot of the lore.
Yeah.
You get that guy who like sniffs all that coke and he's got the fucking machine guns and
what was his name?
Yeah, he had like Scorpion or something.
I think it's Scorpion. Scorpion is ready. Something like that.
No, I like the Predators with Adrian Brody. Even like I like that. I like that when that
Brody's doing his tough guy voice. He's the toughest Jew in the world. Adrian Brody. Forget everything you know that you saw in The Pianist. He's not a
Is he even Jewish, or is it just the nose? They're like, yeah, we could cast him as a Jew. And
if he's not Jewish, then I apologize for assuming.
I don't know if he is. You looking that up, Lynch?
He was in that Holocaust movie, The Pianist.
Yeah, The Pianist was. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it really was. I thought that was a good movie too. You got
his dad was, but his mother wasn't.
Pull up his dad's nose.
Technically not.
Pull up his dad's nose. That's crazy being Jewish. And people are like, you're Jewish? I can tell you're Jewish. And he's like, what? This is actually from my mom's side, and she's not Jewish. This nose isn't even the Jewish side.
Maybe she's Greek or something. Yeah, he's got a beak on him.
I saw these. I forgot to say them. The white people slurs from Twitter. A lot of them suck, but Male Monkeys was there in the top 5.
I also keep seeing the I don't know what to call it, but the idea that white girls are banging dogs a lot. You see that a lot on the internet?
Oh no! But
what do you mean?
I've never seen a black girl bang a dog, and I think I may have seen like 3 white girls in my entire existence.
Well, I just keep seeing this. I saw one meme, for example, and it was like, she talks shit about me, but then a video of her getting eaten out by her dog gets shared on socials, and then she's like rolling her eyes, and this is like a meme for Gen Z, I guess. And then I go in the comments, and everybody's like, "Yep, that's white girls for you." And everybody's like, "What do you mean? Explain the joke." And like, what? And then someone writes a whole paragraph about, well, apparently white girls bang dogs on a higher percentage than you'd ever believe when polled, and like they're talking about. I don't know if you remember this chick on Twitter back in the day, Whitney, Wisconsin.
Yep, that's who I was thinking of. Lynch, you do know who it was? She was the one that would put her fingers inside her and go up to strangers and be like, smell my fingers at the mall, or like touch their lip.
Like that. Stop.
No, I think you would kill her.
Stop it.
You'd kill her.
No. Some dudes were super into it.
Yeah, they probably wanted her to not
kill
her for like a week.
That? Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
but she'd also like talk about banging her dog, and like she may have made some videos banging the dog. I think she went to
She
jail.
uploaded it to Facebook. I think it was like on Facebook under her real name and got shared. Yeah,
She was all about dog sex. Yeah, she was just talking it up a lot. And they would like her and this other. I remember there were a lot of dirty videos, mostly of them in like Walmart bathrooms and changing rooms, just being filthy.
So the claim is what the claim is white women with dogs, and we don't know how to season our chicken. Essentially, it's kind of the two things.
Yeah. She was like the female Shoe Nice.
Oh, there was Shoe Nice. There was Shoe Nice is in the IDF, by the way.
No, he's not.
But there's this of the list of insults here. Boiled chicken is one of the that's what you can call a white person, I guess. Child of the chalk. This one hits vanilla discharge. You gotta really hate white people if you're calling them vanilla.
See, none of this rolls off the tongue. That's the thing. Like it's got to be something you can yell and something you can also chant. Too many
syllables in that.
There is like
too
here,
busy.
like it has cornstarch crusaders. I like what you're going for here.
That ain't hurting nobody's feelings.
That's why this one works the best. Punk. People of no color. Punk. That's like what I'm just
breaking
saying.
out the,
like, come on.
What is this? It's like NCAA game day. You're gonna hold up a sign with an
I just
acronym.
have punk. Punk is like the P word. It's almost like the same as like the K word. Like punk. Like punk. Like it's fucking punk. Listen, I'm not offended by it, but I'm not offended by the K word either.
I think I would honestly, if you called me that word that rhymes with maggot, I think it would be much more effective than any of those racial slurs.
Yeah. But still also I'd be like, so you think?
Yeah, it's more about their intent, right? It's what they mean. It's what they mean. Because they mean like, fuck you piece of shit, scumbag motherfucker. I hate you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
milk crickets was one also.
Oh, moon cricket goes the other way, by the way.
What's that?
Moon cricket is one for black people. Yeah. Yeah. Google that one real quick. That's my favorite one.
You can't have a favorite one.
It's literally my favorite one because everyone has to Google it. But yeah, moon cricket. Yeah. And it's not. That's again because it's so weird. It's not offensive. That doesn't hurt anybody's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I call my boy a moon cricket all the time.
Yeah, the words it says similar to, and then it has words that are very bad.
Bad words. Yeah. And if you look at that list of words, they all roll off your tongue.
I want to come clean about something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to come clean about something.
Okay.
You know the N word?
No.
You do. Back in the day, like way back in the day, that would be a thing that would come up whether I was rapping along to a song, whether I was being like a piece of shit in a Call of Duty lobby, whether like it was just a word that existed that I knew was a bad word. And I think maybe being like under 20 years old, it was appealing to me. And that is not something that comes out now. It's not whether I'm like whether like for real, like whether I'm with my friends or whatever, like it just doesn't come up. My friends don't say it in privacy. Maybe it's like a Canadian, like it doesn't actually come up as a word.
I might say it like 3 times a year, and it's usually to quote someone. It's like, it's usually to directly quote someone and explain something. Nowadays I just say ninja because that's perfect.
Yeah, if you want to like, you just want to. That's your body being like, don't say it, and your brain's like, say it. You can say whatever you want, and you're like,
but I've never said that word with like any anger or hatred in my heart. It's always
that's
been
true.
just
It's never been like that. It was just. When you're
to discuss
young,
the word usually
when you're young,
and
also when you were young and like I said, when you're told that you can't say something, then it becomes something.
Oh, trust me, where I grew up, nobody was putting a clamp on that word.
Yeah, where we
Free
grew up,
Willy.
it was like this was like now a very exponentially charged word. You know what I mean? And you don't really have many of those. But like it's I don't hear it even when I play online. I go online when I hear someone say like the F slur or the N word online when I'm gaming, I'm like shocked because I'll hear it like once a year, maybe I'm just in
The
good
only
lobbies.
time I hear it now is if someone's streaming and someone's like stream sniping and trying to fuck them up
trying to
on
get them
Twitch.
banned or something.
Yeah. They'll come in and they'll say it rapidly, right?
Yeah.
Like ninja. I made sure to enunciate.
Yeah.
They'll get it going. Yeah, that's unfortunate the way that works. There's a lot of games it's just impossible to stream.
I saw a thing. I forget who said it, but they were like, sometimes people are like, kike is like the N-word for Jewish people. And it's like, no, it's not. And it's like, yeah, it is. Kike is like the N-word. It's like, no, it's not, because you're saying that word and you're calling that the N-word.
And also, here's a little newsflash. It didn't hurt my feelings a bit.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. Maybe next year it might, though. We'll see. Things are changing pretty quickly.
You guys be okay. Look, I always pick winners. Okay, like I pick this. I've picked a couple championship teams like preseason the last couple of years. One time we did a fucking like whole 30 something team bracket for the NHL, and I just picked the opposite of Taylor. And if I had put money on it, I'd have won like $50,000 or something because he was ass backwards all around the board. It was so funny. What were we just talking about? I had a
you're always right. You're always on the right side.
Yeah.
Of
oh yeah, you guys.
One thing I saw, I watched.
You guys got this.
I watched a clip of you, and it's so true. It is like the type of thing, and I spoke about this with friends. Was like, it's so fucked up and sickening to be this desensitized, but I keep repeating it. But it is what it is. It's just, y'all made me this way. Everyone did, and I always try and be better. But like October 7th, like fucking Breath of the Wild paragliders, I was like, oh shit, that's a fucking move. That's like a really crazy move coming over the wall.
They play PUBG. That's what it was.
They gotta have some access to something to have that level of creativity. Like it's wild.
That's PUBG, baby.
And I was also like, wow, that's crazy that they did that. And I was like, also like, oh, that's silly. Like you're fucking with a powerful country's ego like that. Y'all shouldn't have done that. Like it was crazy to be like full Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild hang glider, like doing the thing. But then it's like you got to have an exit plan. You got to have.
They dropped more bombs in like a day than the U.S. dropped in their biggest month in Afghanistan ever.
Yeah,
they like 6,000 bombs a day or something crazy. Where are they getting all those bombs?
It's you. Apparently, the US
I know we cover half the cost of the missile defense.
I heard I heard it was overall their spending on their military, 10% of it is the US annually. And I was like, damn, that's a lot of money, because there's a lot of money coming from the US and it still makes up only like 10%. Like they spend a lot of money. And then I used to always be like, what the fuck are you guys spending money on? Don't you guys have guns and bullets already? What do you need more? And then I'm like, oh, they shoot like 8,000 of those Iron Dome rockets that are 100K per.
Your tanks are pretty sick too. You have very interesting.
And they update them because they watched the war in Ukraine, so now they all have those drone protection things. And the I don't know if you saw the Iron Beam. Did you see the Iron
trophy
Beam?
System on the tanks?
Oh, the trophy system's crazy. I watched trophy system videos because that's fun.
That Iron Beam footage. So.
Can you believe that they did that? That they unveiled the Jewish space laser?
So that's not real. I saw what you saw. It's an effect where it's a lens flare that makes it look like a beam is impacting, but what's happening is an explosion is happening and it's making a light, and then you're getting a lens flare off that light that looks like a beam that extends up into the air. But I know they do have that laser system, but I don't think it's ready to go yet.
Well, they have. Apparently, it's that thing, which they did say they unveiled it. That thing costs like whether it is going to be, if that is it, the same footage we saw or whatever. But to everyone listening, it's like a beam. It looks like literally a fucking space laser, and I can't believe they unveiled it now of all times. This is a bad look. Just bad optics. You don't unveil the Jewish space laser.
Marjorie Taylor Greene was telling the truth.
Yeah, you don't unveil the Jewish space laser when everyone's mad at you for bombing. But that's supposed to be like $100 per rocket instead of like 100K. And I think like it could get apparently easily overwhelmed, but like they would use it in tandem with the Iron Dome. But just the
save some money.
idea of having this like literal laser shooting up into the sky, I'm just optically not the time.
I like it. I think it's pretty fucking cool. Did you see? I think it's the Houthis. It's this rebel group that
In Saudi and Yemen. Sorry,
Iranian backed. Yeah, I think in Yemen or maybe Lebanon, but you're probably right. Probably Yemen. They shot a ballistic missile at Israel, and the Israelis using an F-35 jet shot, I think it's called an Arrow missile, into outer fucking space and shot down the ballistic missile. They said it's technically the first incidents of space combat.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy that it's like that's the first incident of space combat is not what you thought. You're like, what? Space combat is just two pieces of metal flying up to each other and one shutting down the other.
I think what it's actually, everybody always asks, like, what's the Space Force do? What are they gonna do? I think that's about like satellite warfare. I think that's about like, we got some guys up there who can maybe go, like, imagine if you just fly up to the Russian or the Chinese like satellite and like get out and work on that bitch. Or even if you got some fucking space ninjas.
You're totally right. Like in World War II, there was this huge maneuver. I believe it was World War II, and you definitely know about this. The Ghost Army that they used, they would like set up inflatable tanks and blast like tank music, like tank sound effects from like speaker systems to sound like tanks mobilizing. And they would have tons of inflatable tanks set up in one spot. And so Nazi Germany was like focusing on where those tanks were coming from because their scouts.
It was for D-Day.
Yeah, their scouts.
They wanted them to know the landing site.
Exactly. The scouts were like relaying the information and they set it up and then they would have their flank or whatever. And apparently the Ghost Army did a ton of work and shit during World War II. But now imagine, like, because a country like Israel, they waited for the ground invasion at one point because there was a lot of sandstorms and they care about the life of each soldier to the point that they didn't want to go in when they don't have the satellite backing them. But like, imagine like you could hack a satellite of another country and even have their satellite imagery be like deep faked to the point that you think you're looking at an army coming one way when they're not even there. It's a huge advantage. Like subversion like that. Yeah, turning off a satellite's one thing, but then people will go back to the conventional methods they know. But if you're going to use digital shit as subversion, that would be insane. That would be...
The technology gap is so wild. I know they were talking about the Hubble Space Telescope. The CIA already had a bunch of those before the one that we found out that NASA got. They had them up there already, but pointed back at Earth. So that same telescope that they're using to like look at some galaxy on the other side of the universe, they'd had a bunch of those turned around and faced back at Earth, looking at the Soviets for years and years. And there was at some point they were like, "Hey NASA, we got like 2 more extra Hubbles sitting and like in mothballs. You want them?" And like, "What do you mean you have 2 extra like Hubble space telescopes sitting around?" Like, "Yeah, we weren't using them anymore. We got way better shit now." And it's like, I bet they can read your phone from outer space 100%. Like if you're texting,
they got to be right. Like it's got to be very, very good because it's meant to look at like billions of light years away or whatever. The pillars of eternity or whatever those things are called.
I know they can read your license plate from space. I bet they could read your fucking phone. I wonder if they could read your lips even. Like it's so crazy, the technology gap. They had this, a lot of the tech that we hear about that to me is mind blowing is from like the 80s. They have this thing where, let's say we're in a room having a conversation in a hotel, they can shoot a laser beam at our hotel window from another skyscraper, and our voices are making that glass pane vibrate.
That's really
and so
crazy.
that laser turns those oscillations back into a sound wave that can be interpreted, and they can listen in like that from a great distance away.
You seem like you might know something about this. I was always curious about. Do you remember there was a bunch of like people like diplomats down in Cuba, and they were like getting sick, like their ears, like they were getting like hearing, they were like being some type of like something was being set off that was like fucking with their ears and like fucking with their heads.
Yeah,
and I was like, what is this all about? It like really caught my attention because it just sounded so crazy to be like in your.
It was some kind of an ultrasonic
like
weapon.
In your office. You're like in your office.
Havana
and all of a sudden
syndrome.
You're like,
Symptoms in small group, mostly caused by directed energy, says U.S. Intel panel of experts. Injuries suffered by
I'd be
several
so
dozen
mad.
diplomats and spies were consistent with directed energy. 1,000 people have reported symptoms.
Yeah, who knows what that even
like
fucking
what is that? Right? Like I was like, that sounds terrible to be like in your office. And all of a sudden your head feels like it wants to explode because someone's directing some weird energy towards you through the
That's
walls.
so fucking crazy.
just aimed at the embassy.
And you would think the embassy would have like I don't know, like
death rate
they don't have
deterrent.
to have stuff like in the like built to some spec that's going to allow.
What's an energy weapon?
Well, they
I
said
don't even know what that
they
means.
said the victims reported feeling the sensation of being hit by an invisible blast or pressure wave while inside their apartment or home. That's fucked. Getting beat
I
up,
don't even know what
feeling like
that
you're
is.
getting slapped by a ghost when you're just chilling at home. It's like,
Well, if you look at some of the crazy CIA shit that they did to like just Castro, you know, they tried to poison him so his beard would fall out. They tried to dose him with LSD so that he'd be loopy as fuck
And
when
then
he
what
did one of those
happened?
3-hour radio addresses.
what happened now?
They fucked up every time.
And now we'll look at this. Now his son is running Canada. So
Yeah.
look what happened. I told you, bro. I've been going crazy.
Justin.
The last 5 years, I've been going crazy. Bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep hearing a lot of things about your boy up there, that Justin Trudeau guy. They don't like him down here.
I saw some
Boy,
Americans
Lynch,
jumping
Lynch
in.
calls him my boy all the time. Also, Lynch
He is your boy. That's right.
Boy did.
He is your boy.
He was at my house for dinner
Oh
in
shit!
2016. Yeah, he came over to my house for
Did
dinner.
he tell you he was going
wasn't
to snatch the guns then?
No, he.
Hold on, but I did see some Americans hating on him, and I was wondering what that was. I saw like him get picked up because it's rare.
It's a lot of
rare
things.
that like Canadian politics bleed into some American commentary. You know what I mean? Like
When that big trucker
Yeah, sure,
standoff
that
happened,
was
I didn't
one,
really
yeah.
follow it, but my understanding is the government did something to those guys' bank accounts or people who like donated to the trucker
he froze
convoy.
their PayPals or froze their bank accounts.
yeah, they froze all the money.
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah,
that.
that seems like a big overreach to us down here. I think
I
for a lot of people.
also-
also,
commission
I
about
do
it.
not.
It's,
I
like,
didn't
huge.
agree. I didn't agree with the trucker convoy ultimately with the how it was done or like what. And
You
like,
didn't
there's
agree
a
with someone
messaging
honking
in
the
it.
horn outside my building?
Exactly, there was messaging in it that I agree
I'd
with,
be like,
but there were some aspects that I didn't.
I think
and
I keep hearing about Chinese influence.
there is a
and
lot of
also,
chatter
the
about China and Canada. A lot.
your homes are apparently like impossible to acquire these days,
Crazy
which
expensive.
similar.
Yeah, I
down
think
here.
it depends where you live, but yes. I mean,
Oh no,
overall,
we
like,
had the guy running against Trudeau currently. He did a little video where he was showing a house. He was like, "This house here is $450,000," and it looked like a not that good house. And then he points down the street. He's like, "This house is $175,000." He's like, "What's the difference?" He's like, "This is Niagara Falls, and that is USA. That is Canada. Our houses are like 2.5 times the amount." And it was just, it was like interesting to just see it. But I know that.
By the way,
the heating oil thing as
my
well.
favorite memes though, just to touch on that, is the boomer ones where everyone's like buying a house now versus buying. They're like, the boomers think they're so smart because they bought a house and made like $5 million
for 7
on
grapes,
it. They bought it for
they want
like a stick of gum. They want it at a fair. Yeah, they want it at a fair, and then now it's worth like
The idea that that's boomers is silly to me though, because like it was 2008.
Yeah.
It was 2008 when you could buy a house for $50,000.
But I'm talking about Canada specifically, like in the markets.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
gotcha,
If you bought a real estate in Florida back in those times, you would have done quite well in this time frame. But there is in Canada, it feels like a lot of people be like, oh, like people gotta get their shit together. It has changed so much here, where like it was one parent working versus two, which seems to be the norm nowadays. And like you could,
this is why there's
buy a
poly
house,
couples
like,
also.
middle class.
There's
Like,
couples
you
with
could be
like
middle
3
class
people
and-
in the couple. Like I'm just saying, I know quite a few people that are in like polyamorous relationships. Yeah, and I look
to
at
buy
that and I'm
houses.
like,
That's why.
no, but financially, it is like that's where they're at. They have a house, and I've spoken to them, and they were like, "Well, because there's 3 of us, we have a house."
That's how my dad and his brothers often were, and I've seen that a lot with like down here, farming is big business, but to get going, you might need $2 or $3 million to get the ball rolling on a big farm, and there'll be like 2 or 3 brothers. It's like, oh man, together we can do anything. You've got so much more borrowing power. So much more collateral between the three of you. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I want a throuple or anything, but it's nice to have.
All right, 2 girls, maybe no.
Just a throuple where we all co-sign each other, right? Like that's all I want.
Not to
trying to split
not to make it not to keep making it like so war related, but I was talking to like a buddy who's in the Navy, and he was showing me on his phone. He was on a destroyer, and he was like, check this out. And like about like 5 football fields away is a big ship, like 2 big ships. I'm like, what's this? He's like, oh, that's the Chinese. And I'm like, where is this? He's like, it's just like in the Pacific. You know, you come across each other here and there. And I'm like, so what are you guys doing? He's like, we go up to them. We go like right by them. And I'm like, what do you do? He's like, nothing. We just see what they'll do. And I'm like, that's it? He's like, yeah. And sometimes they do it to us. Sometimes like, you know, they're approaching. So we all go to our stations and they come up and they're just like next to us and just
it's like they're
look at us. We look at them.
On them.
That's pretty cool.
He's like, and then we pull away. I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and we usually see it from like thousands of miles away, because that's how these fights happen. Whether you're gonna, you know, scramble fighters off a carrier, or if like, you know, a submarine's gonna whatever it is, you see it from thousands of miles away, and you could tell by the speed that they're traveling and the size. We could kind of usually know which ship it is or where they're coming from. And I was like, anything scary out there or whatever? And he was like, listen, I'm a low-level dude. So if they have figured this out, I wouldn't know about it. And if they started implementing it, I wouldn't know about it. He goes, but there have been a couple of times, at least on my destroyer, in the last year and a half, 2 years, where we'll be out at sea, and then all of a sudden, there's a Chinese ship within 1,000 meters. And we never saw them coming. We don't know how they got there. And we are just totally surprised, because that type of shit doesn't happen. There's no way they could. How they're doing that? We have no idea, or I have no idea. And sometimes the ship just appears, and I'm like, that's fucked. He's like, yeah. He goes, the least fucked thing about it is they don't know if it's working when they do something like that. Yeah. Like that's the fog of war. Is like you could do something, but you don't know. Sometimes, like, you know, fighter jets will fly like 500 feet off the ground to be below radar, and they're literally like, I hope this is working.
Dude, have you seen the Ukrainian footage where the choppers are like, if you jumped high enough, you would get hit by that motherfucker. Like they're flying 12 feet off the ground to avoid radar.
That's wild.
And you know, they're going like 200, 300 kilometers per hour.
And
they're
there's like
hauling
bumps,
ass.
there's like bumps in the ground. There's like a fucking little tower or something. And they like literally ride it. Pilots are insane. Pilots are just so crazy.
Have you been in helicopters before?
I've been in a helicopter, like chilling. Oh yeah, submarine ain't it for me.
But I was reading a lot about submarines, and they actually like scare me. Like the concept of being in a submarine.
Oh yeah, you want to hear a scary World War II instance? The little thing, it's not really a story, but just something that happened. There was, it doesn't matter which battle it was, but basically the whole American Pacific Fleet had gathered and were waiting on the orders to go to one of the major battles of World War II. And order comes in, the admiral comes over, fuck him, the day is here, boys, onward. And all the ships take off, heading, you know, toward wherever on the other side of the world. Some dude falls off one of the boats. Everybody sees him fall off. Like, oh no, hey, Mark fell. They throw life preservers and everything. And they're like, we're not stopping. Do you know what it takes to stop the entire American Pacific Fleet?
Yeah.
No, that would delay us for half a day to stop everyone and have one boat turn around, and pick him
even
up.
Like not bump into each other or some shit. I don't know if that's
yeah, and they're in the
like 180.
They're in a formation as well, with like the aircraft carriers being flanked by a lot of defensive vessels, destroyers, and battleships.
Apparently, it's like an aircraft carrier, a submarine, a destroyer, and something else makes up a fleet or something like that. I was asking a billion questions, but I don't really remember. But yeah, so what happened to this guy? He just abandoned him.
They left him. They said that's it. They watched him disappear over the over the horizon. Damn.
That's crazy.
And he just watched them keep going. There was nothing to be done.
Being lost in the water is top nightmare. One of my top nightmares. The only thing I think is worse is those people who cave. Unrelated, but people. I've been caught up in some caving videos where I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Oh my god! I saw one.
How is this a thing?
It was they drove to one end their car And then they like walked back so that when they go under, they'll come out to where the car is, and they walked back and it was super freezing cold water. There was 4 of them, and one of them, their thing got stuck or compromised and he couldn't move. And now the other one couldn't get past his body, and you can't go backwards in this. And like,
it's like,
I just see that.
It's like, what?
Have you been to the Ox Ranch out in Texas?
No.
Brandon Herrera could point you in the right direction. You know him.
Yeah.
You've done
you guys had him
him
on PK the other week, eh?
Of course.
He's
Yeah. Next time you talk to Brandon, ask him about the Ox Ranch and if like he could get you out there to have some fun. So what it is,
you could
the guy out there,
out here?
You can hunt anything you want out there. That giraffe's 8,000 to kill if you want it. More to stuff. Its name is Sushi. So if you go out to the middle of fucking Texas, there's an 80,000 acre ranch out there that this guy bought. This guy's our age.
Brent Oxley.
He owned the HostGator, which hosted like, I don't know, 8% of the global internet at one point, and he sold it for like $300 million roughly. And so now he's a 37-year-old 300 millionaire, and he's just got like it's seemingly, I'm just like kind of pulling this out of my ass. What I've noticed is that all of his friends are the guys that you'd be like, hey man, I really want to own a tank. How would I go about doing that? Like, let me show you. So he owns tanks. He owns artillery pieces. He's turned that ranch into a playground. There's like jet ski racing on his private lakes he's created. You can get lost out there. It's
So you can just do that.
80,000 acres is hard to comprehend.
Post up in a blind here, which is like this like little box with windows, and like literally snipe zebras.
So I don't know. So he took me up in like his private like hunting box, and you go up this spiral staircase into this big elevated position, and there are camera feeds on screens in the elevated room you're in. And so you can watch on camera when an animal is at any of these positions, and then you open a window and, you know, prop your rifle up and shoot it. But it's an open bar in here with like nice liquor. Like it's like a fancy liquor cigar bar that you're in, like with a heater,
and visitors can drive around in vintage tanks. It says here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've been there and done that. I blew up his old house before he built his mansion. He wanted to like destroy his old house, so we went. Me and
you could shoot old cars from a World War II tank.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, you can blow cars up. You can hunt animals.
I'm surprised there's not more of these around.
But like you can do more. So what you're looking at is what like the general public can get access to. But I bet Brandon knows him well enough that you could go on like a kind of a VIP, come and hang out with him kind of thing. He probably knows who you are. When I went,
he'll let me sniff coke while I shoot cars from a tank.
No drugs. I certainly my felonious ass is not gonna make any drug jokes. You can't see me, but I like did that pull my collar away from my neck thing. All of a sudden, no drugs. But I thought of it because he has caves on that property. There used to be old silver mines there, and so he's been walking that property on his own, discovering caves for years. And he took me to 2 of them. One of them, he's got a GPS tagged, so we drive out in the middle of nowhere through. We're knocking brush down as we go in these fancy ATVs. And when we get there, we walk for another 10 minutes and with flashlights. And there's just a hole in the ground that's like a city sewer hole size, like one of those things.
Manhole cover.
And there's an emergency fire ladder that you would throw out of a kid's window. It's just these little aluminum rungs connected with cable. And he throws that down in the hole and says, "Who's first?" Yes. And I'm like, "Me, motherfucker, let's go." And I start climbing down this dark hole. He said, when you get to the bottom, you'll need to get on your hands and knees and start crawling.
Ooh,
and
bro,
so I get to, So I get to the climb all the way down. And I mean, I'm climbing for like a bit. Like it's probably 15, 20, 30 feet down. It's hard to tell when it's narrow.
You are a sicko. So I'm not like that surprised that you would do something that I would never be able to do.
I mean, I feel like they invited me for a show, so I'm going to give them one. So I get to the bottom of this fucking thing and start crawling. And then you crawl through a small tunnel it wasn't claustrophobic for me, and I'm not small. So it's a pretty decent sized tunnel, but you do have to crawl through it. And then it opens up into this big, like igloo dome cavern where that the walls are covered with these bugs that glow under ultraviolet light.
Wait, that's
like they're
sick.
glow in the dark. The ground is this.
It sounds like Pandora now, like Avatar.
Yeah, a little bit. The ground is this loose, like soil that has bones in it from animals that have fallen down this pit for hundreds of years. There's stalactites and stalagmites or whatever the fuck, the ones that go down and come up, like everywhere around you. And it's just this perfect darkness you're surrounded by. I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. I loved doing that. So that Ox Ranch is it's one of the cooler places I've ever been.
Yeah, that sounds sick. It's really interesting English language being like stalactite. That's the one that comes from the ceiling. Stalagmite, that's the one that comes from the top. But then they're like, yeah, this is light. It's not heavy, it's light. And turn on the light. And, you know, I ate the number 8. And it's just like, wait, why you got stalactite, stalagmite for this fucking random, obscure, like, cave spike? But then we're going to share 3 meanings for one word.
I felt bad. I won't say who it was, but my boy was in there. And like when I saw those, I'd been on cave tours before where you see those like stalactites or whatever coming from the ceiling. They're like, this took 800,000 years to form, Jimmy. Tiny bits of calcium, a micron at a time. Don't touch it. The oil from your skin would stunt its growth for generations to come. And so, like, I'm looking at these things with that kind of reverence and respect, especially since this isn't just some national hole in the ground. It's like my boy, it's like this guy owns this hole. He owns every rock in here. I'm going to be chill.
That's his calcium spike.
The other dude that I was with, like, reaches out and just breaks one off like it's a fucking like it's an icicle or something. He's just like, snap!
Come on, Woody. No, I'm joking.
It wasn't Woody.
Around. I know it wasn't.
He snaps this big fucking like 12-inch spike off, and he's just like, can I keep this? And I looked at the guy, and the guy was like, well, what the fuck else are you going to do with it if you don't keep it? Like, what are you going to throw it on the ground now? You snapped it off the ceiling where it's been growing since before humans were on this continent. Yeah. So like, yeah, take it home, dude. I felt bad.
That is crazy. The Ox Ranch is just interesting because it connects to the Chihuahuan Desert.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just funny to think about the Chihuahuan Desert and the brush there, and to just imagine like Chihuahua dogs running through there getting smoked by snakes and foxes and whatever. They must have.
They took me. So apparently illegals make their way through that property. And so they start telling me this story, which I found out was later mostly a lie. They're like, yeah, the illegals, they filter through the property and we capture them. There's a bounty for each one we catch and turn over to the rangers or whatever. And so there's a house down here that sometimes they like, you know, they go in there and like stay there for a night before they make their way on up through Texas. And so we go through there and we clear it out. But the problem is the cartel's been moving in. So we go in heavy now. So we're going to clear the house to make sure there's no cartel in there. Who wants to go? And I'm like, me. I'll look for the Mexican cartel in your old haunted house. And so they hand me like a movie style machine gun, so anybody who's not like a gun expert just knows, like a big fucking fully automatic M16 with lasers and scopes and shit on it. They hand me this thing. I flip that bitch to full auto and I go through the house, start clearing it out. And I'm being serious because they told me there could be bad guys in here. I turn around the corner and there's like a 6'3" tall Troy Aikman cardboard cutout that I almost sprayed with this fucking machine gun. He's got the football cocked back like he's gonna throw it, and he was just in that scared.
I literally know what standee it is. Like I can imagine it perfectly. I feel like it like came out at when he was on the cover of Super Tecmo Bowl, like back in '93 or something.
They're like, "Did it scare you?" And I'm like, "I almost shot it." Like you sit me in there with a fucking gun.
Yeah. So that's good times. And I would never go in the cave. I would never, even if they're like, there's going to be cartel in there, take this automatic weapon. I'd be like, you guys, I'm going to go to Whataburger.
Have you ever taken someone with you to like a fancy place or, you know, somewhere where you're like feel privileged to go? You're like, oh, they're going to let me go and I'm going to bring you, and they embarrass you.
Oh, like the person you bring with you embarrasses you?
Like you brought somebody to like the Maxim magazine party and they embarrassed you like I did.
Wait, you embarrassed me at the Maxim party?
No, not you.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying,
I'm like, what memory did I lose out on here? Where
me and
Kyle went to the Maxim party and he embarrassed me. I'm like, I can't even imagine it.
No, I'm saying, have you ever brought one of your guys?
Honestly, I showed up to lots of places.
I was gonna say ex-girlfriend.
My ex-girlfriend, I was at Denny's and she started like clapping, standing and yelling at me in front of everyone, which wouldn't be a problem because it's 3 a.m. at Denny's, but the problem was that it was VidCon, so it was like all fans and stuff. And so what I did was I stood up and I ran.
You fled.
I fled. Like I stood up and I ran out of Disney and I sprinted.
Can you give me like a taste of what she was yelling?
It was so fucking stupid. I couldn't even tell you what it was about. Every single fight was never a
petty or personal.
Like petty and personal, like your fingertips.
Yeah, that's the worst. Sure. Okay. All right. I didn't know. Yeah. I mean, running is the move.
Oh, I booked it. It was crazy. Like I booked it. Like if it was just me, like and it was like a regular, I'd be like, anyways, are you getting a grand slam or not? Like I don't fucking care. But because there was like fans there, I was like, and it was like 20, like the views haven't been compromised yet, so I gotta save the channel. I gotta run.
Well, my boy Jeremy embarrassed me everywhere I took him. Every time I took him somewhere, you see, I was envious of Epic Mealtime because you seem to have like a group of guys who like had their shit together. Like you had like a group of college attendees who like who probably had their own jobs and educations and at one point, steady lives. Like
also
normal dudes.
Our stupid silliness was kind of like expected in a way, in a comical way. So it was always like harmless stupidity, kind of.
I didn't have a deep bench.
Yeah,
I didn't have a deep bench to draw from, and so, so like quickly, it's like, yeah, because like it's like, hey, who wants to work for extremely varying amounts of money and like drive around the country? My cameraman Scott, my first cousin Scott, he's deathly afraid of airplanes, so we drove everywhere. So that meant I've driven to Seattle, Washington and back. It means I've driven to Phoenix, Arizona and back from Atlanta. So like thousands of miles back and forth just to avoid him going on a goddamn aircraft. And so Jeremy was like this fourth cousin or something, that not really even related, but like we kind of know this guy, family friend kind of guy who's just an idiot. And everywhere I took him, bless his soul, because hardworking guy, he'd fuck up. He'd back my truck into somebody's fancy fucking Mercedes. He'd fucking he did that one time we were at the Special Forces training grounds, and he backed my fucking Silverado truck into like a $90,000 Mercedes that was sitting there. And luckily the dude was so rich, he didn't give a fuck. Like he didn't get, it's like, okay, that's fine. I've got a dozen of those.
Jeremy didn't learn his lesson obviously after that one. He's like, oh, it's all good.
Oh,
was Jeremy apologetic or was he like, what, dude? Fuck that guy's car. He's rich. You should get a new one.
He like squinted, shrugged, and said, I ain't see it. And it's like, you know, it's like, because it was like a, I don't know, Maybach or some shit. It was this low to the ground fucking car and he couldn't see it. But then like we were at like one of the nicer hotels I've ever stayed in Houston, Texas. And he got locked out of his room. And instead of calling my room, he went downstairs in his underwear because he was locked out in his underwear of his room. It's just in boxer shorts. And this guy's covered with like disgusting tattoos. Like I said, some of them that I did. He has a tattoo on his back that I put on there that says, "Don't be beach." And with like guns and shit.
That's the FPSRussia tattoo?
Yeah, it's like 2 AK-47s and it says "Don't be a beach." And I fucking tattooed that shit to him. The tattoo artist let me use the gun. And he's down there and he's at nipple rings, and he's down there flicking his nipple rings, standing real awkward next to a grand fucking piano within sight of like a Fleming's, like a nice Morton style like $100 a steak restaurant is within visual sight of where he is standing on the marble floors talking to this beautiful woman about, I need the key to my room. So obviously they will not give him the key to his fucking room. They call my ass and I'm like, yeah, give him the key. They're like, we're going to need you to come down and prove that you are you if we're going to give this guy a key. And I had to go
stand next to this person. And
yeah, I had to go downstairs.
They're like, my responsibility.
And there he was looking like shit. just fucking like, and he had no embarrassment. I mean, just I can see his dick almost. Like he's just barely dressed down here in this lobby. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Everywhere I took him, he was a shit show because he'd never been anywhere.
When I start to fuck up, we will go into like a shameless mindset in my brain where I'm just like I'll be so fast to being like, we're all fucking specks of dust. Like I fuck up and I'm like, Who fucking spikes the dust right now? Think I give a shit that my fucking smelly nipple rings are in this girl's face?
He does not. No, he's got no shame. He was always the guy, though, if I needed. There's a video where I'm shooting targets in a desert, and I wanted to put this little joke in where at the end I'm like, yeah, we had fun today. We did this, that. I shot 4 zombies, and I go, wait a minute, 1, 2, 3. I only shot 3 zombies, and then that's Jeremy's cue because he's behind a boulder 20 yards away. And he's holding a stick, and on the end of that stick is a zombie target full of explosives. And he lifts that stick full of explosives over his head, and I blow it up, and I go, there it is, and I blow it up with him holding it.
Oh, really?
And you don't know that he's there. You just see a zombie target rise up from behind a boulder. There's a man over there holding with a stick,
wild
target attached to it. I mean, I told him to do it.
That's great.
Did you ever see that video of that guy who's shooting a lawnmower like with tannerite and then it doesn't blow up, so he keeps going closer and closer? You ever see that one, Lynch?
He loses his leg.
He shooting a lawnmower and he gets closer and closer and there's tannerite in it. He says that, and then it blows up as it was supposed to, and a blade from the lawnmower flies out and just cuts his leg off. And it's like, well, what the fuck, buddy? What were you were far away from the tannerite. Why do you get closer when you're shooting a gun? You could step back even more probably if you wanted. But
yeah, it looked bad. He got way too close.
You've messed with that stuff before, no?
Did you see where I blew up the fridge and it hit Gator?
Oh no, wait. Wait. I thought I did. I don't remember it hitting Gator.
Yeah, so we had a video for the Sega. It's the Sega 12 video. It's a fully automatic Sega 12 shotgun, and it's like a super shorty version with a shitty ass stock. It hurts so much to shoot, but I wanted to blow up a target at the end, and at first I think it was a door. But long story short, the target got fucked. We had we had to scrap everything, and the sun's going down, and we had to what are we gonna do? And the guy who fucked up was like, I got an old refrigerator at my house. And I was like, perfect. We'll blow up your old refrigerator. Get it over here. And so we put explosives in this old refrigerator. And the reason we're so close is because it looks good for everybody to be in frame. I want my shoulder to be taken up. Yeah, I want 40% to be me and the other 60% to be some shit blowing up. And that's going to be a good shot. And, I get real close to that fucking refrigerator and we blow that bitch up. And you can see this chunk of metal come spinning toward us. And the cameraman goes, and the camera hits the grass.
Oh.
and so what happens is Scott has been hit in the shin by a jagged piece of metal, and it's made a cut about 2 inches wide, but very deep, like it's gouged way down into his shin. And so he's begging to go to the ER, right? We've duct taped a shirt to his leg to staunch the bleeding. But the sun's going down. We got to film this outro, baby. So I'm just like, Jeremy, come over here. so now Jeremy
picks of YouTube right there.
So Jeremy picks that fucking camera up off the ground. I'm going like, well, we had a little bit of a problem here. Cameraman number 1, he's injured over there. Probably keep the leg. No worries, no big deal. But enjoy the video. Have a nice day. And I was like, all right, now we can go to the fucking ER. Let me know something, Scott. 2 options. 1, I take you to the ER. I pay for anything and everything they want to do for you. 2, give you $500 and we handle this right here, right now. I got some fishing line, some needles, and some super glue. And he was like, take me to fucking hospital. Take me to fucking hospital.
I knew you were about it when you guys shot the epic meal down in your neck of the woods, and you took the knife and cut the bottle of I remember watching it and being like, what the fuck? I think I even looked at the raw footage and I was like,
dude, there was
a crazy move. I'm like, that's like I think you're about the shot.
There was a primal thing going on, like with Muscles, Glasses, and FPSRussia together, like these 2 characters, like played by 2 like very passionate men who have become the characters. There was this level of like pushing the boundaries and getting your boy to go further and further, and it happened fast, and just smashing the bottle and fucking scooping it. I remember being like, oh,
I was always and it's probably one of my worst qualities. Like, I didn't want to help anyone else that was kind of doing the things that I was doing. I didn't want to collab with anybody who was also doing gun stuff. It's like, I'm doing my thing. I don't want to be part of your thing. I don't want you to be part of my thing. I noticed it. most of y'all are just copying what I do. So I don't want to collab with you. But with you, I really enjoyed doing stuff with you because you're in a completely different sphere of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can do some different stuff and expand upon the character even a little bit, or be sillier or even more serious. Like when I'm hanging out with you doing the Star Wars thing, even I appreciate that invite, by the way. That was cool awesome. Back today.
Yeah.
But with Muscles, it was always like, we're both portraying these like macho man characters who don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And so I was always going to try to one up him, and I was going to leave it up to you to edit.
But you know what? It's funny you say the edit. What's interesting is I've done food stuff with people, and I've seen like the final collabo, and I've looked at it, and I've always offered to help edit, and people are like, and I've looked at the final edits, and I'm like, there's no way in hell this person thought that this shot of me or this joke was the thing to put here unless they were trying to make me look bad. A lot of collabos, I look at it and I'm like, there's no way this is the decision that was made, when I remember all the other alternatives or whatever, but some people didn't want that to happen. Whereas like when you were on the show, like I edited you as if you were me, as if you were Muscles Glasses. Like I always edited Muscles Glasses better than anyone. But like when you were on the show, sure. Like I edited you like you were Muscles Glasses. Like I made you look sick. It benefited us. It made us look cool. It made us all look cool. I edited it like that. But I remember like there are YouTubers, it's very common. Like I remember I got hit up to do an episode of Equals 3 because Ray William Johnson wasn't going to be there. And I was going to do the episode of Equals 3, and it was set up, and I was going in on 2 days, and I was very excited. It was one of the biggest things that was going to happen at Epic Mealtime. And then I got a call from Maker, and they're like, oh, we found someone else. It's fine. And I was like, what do you mean? I was doing it for free. And like, I mean, I'm like, not to toot the horn, but at the time my channel was very popping. So I was like, who's it going to be? It was like a random nobody, but I got called by someone that is very close to Ray. I don't want to dox them. And he was like, yeah, he killed it. He found out that you were doing it and he didn't want you to do his show. And I was like, why? He was like, probably because he doesn't want someone to do it better than him or as good as him. Yeah, you got
similar energy.
And I was like, okay. And I remember that, but I would have never done that. You know what I mean? Like it depends.
If you copied his style, you could easily be a better version of him because you're more personable.
And I was going to spend a lot of time writing the jokes for which I had already started and stuff. But it was, I guess it was just like
isn't it strange he's come all the way back around to essentially a version of Equals 3
I don't know if Kyle knows it. Do you know that, Kyle?
I caught like a short from him the other day or something.
He's killing the big time. Like TikTok.
And Philip DeFranco, like Philip's a guy I've always like, I guess liked and enjoyed his content. But I watched his shorts the other day. I gotta quit. Like, have I told you my Philip DeFranco story of being annoying him at VidCon?
No, what happened?
We were outside the arena, and again, I always did the character like 100%, like because there were so many people trying to find me out. I was like, "Fuck you! I can live this shit. I don't give a fuck." Like, easy. I'm not. People are like, how do you just keep doing the voice? Like, I can do it all fucking day as easily as. Do you think this is my real voice? I grew up in fucking Livonia, Georgia. Do you think I sound like? I sound more like this. I'm doing a voice 24 fucking 7.
It comes up when you say white.
So, yeah, white, white. So I bump into Ray, or no, excuse me, Philip DeFranco, and I don't know. I'm sure he said something to me, and I come back. Yes, it's very nice to meet you, Mr. DeFranco. I like your videos; they're very good, very educational. And he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" or something like he's just like not having it, and I refuse to break character. I absolutely will not. Under any circumstances, because like the people would like try to record me at times, and people did, like people would be annoying like that, and that frustrated me.
I always hate it. I hate gotcha YouTubers like that. People that like.
Well, I see that character as like Santa Claus. Like I'm not trying to deceive the fucking children. I'm trying to entertain them. You jackass! It's not a mystery. It's a character. Yeah. So I gave him not an inch of Kyle. I gave him 100% of Dimitri, and he walked away. And I don't think he likes me still. Probably he probably won't give a fuck now. But I think for a while he didn't like me very much. And it was funny. The moment he stepped away, like while we were having that conversation, a woman and a child are watching us, like very intently, overhearing the whole exchange. And as soon as he leaves, The lady comes over with her kid and starts speaking Russian to me, like fluent
That's
Russian
how you
to
know
me.
it was a
And
good
she,
one. That you got a good
she's like,
accent.
blah, 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 man, to the fucking Soviet Union, blah, 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 and like gesturing toward this child, and he's like babbling back in a little Russian too. And I'm like, I am a character on the internet. I do not speak Russian, nor am I of that nationality. I was born here in these United States.
When did that become clear?
Very
to,
sorry,
the
madam.
general public.
And
I
it's
was gonna
still
say,
not
like, I
clear.
feel like that
I
wasn't
promise
like
you.
wasn't a.
Oh, dude,
a big
Lynch, the
reveal.
first time
I
I'm
only-
on PKA, the first time I'm on PKA, like I sat there and I was like, is that? Oh, I'm like, that's the guy. Like it's on PKA, the first one that I'm like, oh shit. I didn't know that these were the same guy. Like it's happening on the episode. Like I literally was like,
Oh, this is
Yeah.
pre-collabo in
that's
person.
FPSRussia?
I
Pre-collabo.
don't remember.
It's before the collabo, and I had I didn't know I didn't know that his name was Kyle. I didn't know. I thought his name was Dimitri.
You thought
and I
you
didn't,
really
and I
should
didn't
talk-
know. But then, like, I just sat there and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm like, "Does anyone know that?" And then I didn't want to say anything because I was like, "Oh, maybe this is like a thing," and I know what it's like. I don't want like people that watch Epic Mealtime to know that I'm secretly gay. So like you play the character up, and I'm
They don't even know you collect
Yeah,
figurines.
exactly. They didn't know.
Adults. Yeah.
Nah, I just fucking eat steaks and pussy and drink alcohol. That's it.
Yeah. So I remember just being like, that was like a trip in itself for me.
Yeah, I mean, like especially because I came from that Call of Duty community. Like that's that's where I originated on YouTube. Was I was probably like the 15th person to buy a capture card and start making Call of Duty commentaries, and really benefited from that time and place where the technology and the gumption to do it was all that separated you from having a full-time career of a YouTube channel. You just, hey, would you like to be one of the 20 people in the world who are making this content that people love?
What an
Yeah, I guess. Are you any good at it?
what an
Not
era.
really.
What a good
Doesn't
time.
matter. I mean, that's how you get people. I mean, I don't want to call people out, but there was a lot of people who were very low
Yes.
effort then. And then as the game kind of evolved, they fell to the wayside and to one extreme or another. And there's plenty of people who have evolved over the years, like Hutch and those guys who are still doing, well.
Well,
on
actually, I have a
YouTube.
question. I have a
Blame
question for you then. Who would you rather share a bed for a month with? Wings or only use me blade?
Wings.
Can't leave the
100%.
bed though.
That's fine. That's
Easy-
fine.
easy.
I mean, it's not
No,
fine,
it's
but I
you're
mean,
right. It's easy decision.
it's such an easy decision.
There's no open
Uh,
wounds in the bed.
You should add Boogie in there as a third option, because I don't think my answer changed though. Frankly,
Yeah, because they're
here's the
not
thing
gonna
about
have
wings.
like open wounds in the bed, but
No,
like you're gonna
wings
be
won't.
touching them more because they're just like the size in the bed. Like you're gonna have less room, but not even that much less room to justify the open wounds.
No, poor Blade. Like I don't like being too hard on him, but I feel bad every time I see him. It's pretty.
Oh,
rough.
it's one of
He
the
looks
craziest
rather unhealthy.
things. Did Lynch you've caught up on Only As We Blade at all? He's crazy.
I caught a
drinking. He's really
few clips.
he can't escape it because his fans don't let him. They like want to
Boogie's
drink him.
even in a crazier place, right? Did you see the whole Boogie documentary that's very recent?
Good.
Yes, but why do you
One
think
scene
it's a
in
crazier
particular
place? What scene are you talking about, Lynch?
Oh no,
It's not Avatar. We could spoil this.
no. Just I thought the whole scene with his like Magic the Gathering crew that came over, and his one buddy's like, he's like, Boogie talks about buying snacks for everyone, but now he's too poor. He can't buy snacks anymore.
Oh,
And his friend's like, yeah, it's all good, man. Like, it's all good. Like, I only ate snacks when I came to your house, and he's just like a clearly very overweight person. And I was like, that
Yeah.
sounds like either he's joking or playing for the camera. I can't tell. But I'm like, this makes
Yeah.
sense. It's like,
Well, I'm curious why you thought that it's like, I think like Only Use Me Blade's in like one of the worst situations I've ever seen of a creator who is still uploading, streaming, doing what up. But he had someone die.
you got to
in his
meet Andy
place.
Dick. I always wanted to meet Andy
When did
Dick.
you meet Andy Dick?
that's
Andy Dick was in this fucking
yeah, I saw
motorhome.
that.
with
That's
him,
actually
like,
what I
drinking
saw. I
beers
saw
or
that clip, and I saw the whole like someone dying. I saw all that. I was like, what is going on here? But
Oh my God, that's right. That dude
They were
died
painting
over there
his
with
face
Blade.
and stuff, and
They painted his
Yeah.
face. Although, like, and like, that's awful. So just to be clear, they face painted a dying man who died like a day or two later or some shit because he. And to be fair, like, it's not. You should tell the story exactly how it went. So that dude donated. He was streaming there. He's some super fan. He donated like 12 shots to himself or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a bunch of people got
no,
together.
he was
like
on
they did with Blade.
Ambien also, I think, or something. He was on like a couple.
Yeah, but he took the Ambien himself. You know what I'm saying? It's
exactly.
like he did it all to himself. It wasn't like Blade's fans were like, hey, let's donate a bunch of money to this jabroni and poison him. He donated the shots to himself to show off and like killed himself. And now it's fucked up. They face painted him, but that's what they do when you pass out at that house.
Yeah, sounds like
That house is so crazy. It is definitely very nightmare. And I feel like Blade is like someone who's just like my era of YouTube, our era of YouTube. People will sometimes put me with like us with like Smosh, Shane Dawson, but those channels existed 5 years before FPS Russia and Epic Mealtime. Whereas like Blade, that channel was kind of around at the time. Like I remembered, like that was one of the only gaming videos that I would.
He's
watch,
a little before me.
Yeah, exact. But like not much. But like that's like that was like some of the gaming content I'd watch. Like the only Call of Duty content I watch is someone killing a whole team in Search and Destroy with like a knife.
Yeah,
you know.
I watch a lot of Hutch and Scene Anners and those.
Oh,
guys
I used to watch a
day.
ton of Scene Anners.
And honestly, I'd watch Wings of Redemption because he was like funny.
No,
I was gonna say Wings of Redemption. Like I remember like going on PKA and then being like, man, Woody hates me and Wings is an asshole. Like that's like literally what I thought.
I mean, you're half right. You know, like that's you know. the Wings can be kind of an asshole, but he doesn't mean to be. Like I remember he was staying at my house and we were in my truck and I think we were at Home Depot to pick something up for him, you know, like getting a shower head for his big ass or something, like a special one, you know what I mean? It's always something. Or maybe he broke all the legs off my bed or something. Like we're there getting supplies to fix some shit that he's fucked up. And I remember he reaches over and like squeezes my arm and goes, I thought you were big. I thought you were like jacked. When I see you in your videos, I thought you were kind of big and strong, but you know, when I see you in person, you know, I'm not too impressed. He like said some shit like that. And I'm like, dude, you can't fit in that seat. You're out of breath from the walk in Home Depot and you're going to give me some shit because my arms aren't very big. Like I wanted to just melt down on him right there.
It was like an attempt at controlling the situation. Cause here you were helping him out. You're buying something for him of a mistake that he made. So he's trying to control it a little bit, even if it's subconsciously. Sometimes I'm always like, what? Sometimes people do something or say something. I'm like, what could have been that motivation for that?
I know he was like uncomfortable and what I'm no psychiatrist or anything, but like he was looking for all sorts of excuses to leave. He drove to my house and he was like, oh, something's wrong with my truck. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, come on, let's take it for a test drive. And we like drive his truck down the road. He's like, you hear that? Like, no, I don't hear anything. He makes us go to this fancy mechanic who specializes in Chevrolet trucks. And they're like, yeah, nothing. And like, he was just always looking for a reason to ditch and go home. He was so homesick from being at my house. That was a nightmare.
Yeah.
That was literally an example of me being
about
stoned.
This lunch, by the way? This was Kyle.
I got stoned as fuck one night.
Yeah, you tell him.
I got stoned as fuck one night on the show. You know, I was like smoking, like I would step away to pretend like I was taking a piss on the show during the podcast and hit like a hard ass dab.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
I'm in the next room with a blowtorch. Like burning a big ass dab and just cough, and I'd come back blazed. And you know, I get it, some like hair up my ass that I'm gonna be like the cool guy, and I was like, I think Wings was complaining about his life and being fat or something.
I didn't know this was a really big decision, by the way. So I love that.
Oh, big time. Oh, big time. I'd never do this sober. I'm like, you know what, Wings? I challenge you. You come to my house, spend a month at my house. I will put you through a boot camp. I will cut 50 pounds off you. You'll be a mean, almost lean.
That size, 50 pounds with the decisions you were making.
And And I guess what happened was enough of the fans were like, yeah, do it, Wings. That like, he was like, yeah, okay. Yes.
Like,
and I'm like,
shit.
wait, what?
You go hit another dab. You hit another dab.
No, not for real.
I guess. I don't know. I got to dab this entire time.
But you know, I couldn't back out. So long story short, like we had to remodel my shower. Like he wouldn't fit in my shower. He's that big of a guy. So like I ended up spending like $5,000-$6,000 just getting my house ready for him. Had to get him a new bed and had to get the shower remodeled. So it was like $6,000 or something we spent. He spends a month at my house, and I think he lost 40 pounds in a month or something like that. But living with him was one of the weirdest experiences of my life. I remember like the first time he met my girlfriend, and he immediately whips his shirt off and is like, look at my MRSA scar.
What?
And it's like,
So
yeah, it was so weird.
It's a weird,
It's so weird.
A weird scar to bust out. My MRSA scar is it's just,
yeah, he had gotten this like
those
MRSA
are
infection in his
gross. The
folds.
MRSA infection is disgusting too.
He didn't stream it. He uploaded the video. That's even worse. He uploaded the video of him at this rinky-dink South Carolina medical clinic. And when they start draining the MRSA abscess that's in his folds, they have to open the door to let some air in because of the stink. And dude, the door in the room they're in doing this opens to the outside.
It's like type shit. Yeah.
to like woods. So there's like trees out there and grass, like unkept grass. Like and they're like, whoo! Like this is medical personnel.
Too much. They smelt a dead body's ass.
Yes.
And the MRSA is disgusting.
Yes.
If you, that's like,
I still remember we were in Pennsylvania
MRSA?
and
what is it? Methicillin.
it happens
it's
a lot of like sports and stuff. Like people like sharing. It's like a.
it's one of those
you have to clean
sweat
everything.
bacteria, kind of like jujitsu,
Yeah.
like the way you get
Yeah,
stabbed.
similar.
I think.
But
it can come back over and over. So they had to like cut it open and like I think they put in like maybe a cotton drainage thing or something. Anyway, as soon as he meets my girlfriend, he whips off his shirt and like shows her,
like,
and I was just
it's gonna be a long month. You're like, it's gonna be a long month.
Oh, and then the best was
yeah.
like how old were you? Do you think when you learned what marijuana smells like?
Yeah.
And like
You're like younger, probably
you?
younger teens.
Oh, grade like
either of you, yeah. Yeah, like fairly young.
I'm from,
like,
you know what? I'm from Vancouver,
somebody like,
which happens to have a much like probably like
I was like
earlier learning
grade
curve
7,
for that.
13 years old.
So I didn't want Wings to know that I smoked weed as he's staying at my house because, you know, it doesn't need to be public knowledge or anything, and Wings can't keep a fucking secret or anything. So my girlfriend would come over and we'd go down to the basement and we'd get high as shit down there. And when you smoke all the time, you can't tell if it stinks like weed exactly. So we come upstairs and we're sitting there blazed on the couch with Wings watching TV. And he goes, somebody cooking cabbage? And he'd never smelled weed before, so he thought it was cabbage. And we just started laughing, one of those stoned
you get lost
laughs. And we might have laughed for days later. I'd be like, cabbage? And just everybody would just, I still don't think he knows what marijuana smells like. I don't think anybody's ever offered it.
Too bad.
No, I remember when I smelt it and I was like, oh, this is marijuana? Like when I officially was like, oh, this smell is marijuana, I could think of like 6 times in my life where I've smelt this on a person and I didn't realize. And it makes total sense. Like it's a very specific smell. And I was like, oh my God, I know this smell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that skunky smell. We've got legal shit here in Georgia I'm fine with. Like this stuff is so strong. We've got like not weed, but like the Delta 8 stuff.
What's the Delta 8 stuff?
It's
the Delta 8 stuff I've heard can be
Oh.
way stronger than weed. Like it's just the
What
way
is
it's
it?
set
Is
up.
it like
is that
synthetic or is it like
synthetic? Yeah.
Oh, it's synthetic.
Partially synthetic
So-
or something.
So don't think it's not synthetic. It's derived from hemp. And so that's how the legality, how they got around the legality thing, because there was some farm bill that was supposed to be about the utilization of hemp for maybe CBD and maybe rope and silage. I think it's fed to like animals and stuff. And they wanted to like, hey, get the restrictions off this stuff. It's not a drug. And they got it pushed through, but nobody checked the wording of it exactly. And so it allows them to use these THC variants that are created in a couple different ways that when heated turn into a psychoactive fucking drug that's just like THC. And the specific one that I smoke is called THCA. And oh my God.
Does it align
so
with like
strong.
sativa and hybrids and indica, or is it just sort of here's what it is?
Yeah, It's just like I go to a.
It has almost the
we're
exact
sponsored-
same things as as weed, except it's
all the brands,
Okay, so,
flavors,
they've
like
perfected it to be like, okay,
sativa, indica, hybrids. You can get flower concentrates, different waxes, shatters, edibles. The edibles, and again, this stuff is just legal to anyone over the 18. You can buy as much as you want. We're sponsored
you
by
can't buy
a company.
like cannabis, like actual cannabis.
No cannabis. No, I went to prison for half an ounce of marijuana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like,
Yeah,
I feel like
so it's
Georgia's
like-
got to be pretty
It's one of the
conservative when it
stricter
comes
states.
to
We
this type
have-
of thing.
If you're not having seizure, they just now made it so that there's a way for the kids with
To get access
seizures
to,
to get
CBD
some
or
oil.
THC oil. Yeah.
Yeah, just recently that happened.
That's
So,
crazy, man.
but in a vape shop, you can go in there and
What a
you can get a
workaround.
bag of edibles
That's
that
crazy.
will send you to the moon.
It's a worker. They always
It's
figure
like,
it
what's
out.
the difference? Like, what are we doing here now? It's like, that's really interesting.
I just hope nobody abuses it too much or gets in trouble while using it. Like all you need is some news headline: a teenager using
Do you think they'll
Delta 8
ever
artificial marijuana went on
do you
a
think they'll ever get
killing
it
spree.
together to legalize across? I know this is because from Canada, like here it's legal,
Federally legalized?
federally. Like you can just buy anywhere, right? And now they have
yeah.
different ways of managing that process with each province. Every province some of it's privatized, some of it isn't. It's sort of like different everywhere. But across the board, if you come here, show your ID, you can just walk in the store and buy cannabis products. Do you think the U.S. can get it together? Because that's always the kind of thing for us. Like we thought about doing products like there. Like we've talked to many companies, like many people, because we do food. Like it's a kind of a perfect fit.
You should. I would do Delta 8 because it seems to me that there's far less regulation and probably more money in it. I mean, it's just crazy.
You think it's cheaper to produce?
I don't know for sure, but I think so. Yeah.
But do you think federally they'll ever
I
get
know
there
that
in the U.S.?
I don't know if they even should. I kind of like what they did with striking down Roe versus Wade and sending it back to the states.
Oh, you believe the states be like autonomy
I
of the
am
states versus like the federal overreach, I guess, or federal.
Yes, I like states' rights superseding federal rights in many different cases. It's very important that Georgia doesn't get a vote whether we go to war. I think you know what I mean. Sure. If we need to go to war, we're all going. There's no Louisiana staying behind or anything like that. We all need to be together on some things, but the way insurance gets sold in a state or the way hunting licenses are distributed in a state shouldn't be a federal thing that's the same across the board, because it's very different to hunt in, say, Georgia than it is to
what you described in
California.
that earlier
You're
about
need
that,
to have different
place down in Texas you went to sounds like it wouldn't be legal. It wouldn't be legal in a lot of places. I've just based on what you were describing.
No shot.
Well, with enough licensing, you can do absolutely anything you can imagine, short of nuclear. And I mean, I'm sure you can get some sort of grant to do autonomous nuclear research. Like there's nothing you can't do as a person if you really set your mind to it, have a little bit of money and work toward it.
It does help.
I had enough licensing to make RPGs. I had a Type 10 manufacturer's license and a federal explosives license. And then every license below that exists essentially.
But this would be because you live in a state that's federal.
No, it's federal.
You could be
it
in
wouldn't matter.
California and do something like that, or they don't put up more red tape against something like that. Where it's we don't want.
You would probably have a harder time getting weapons imported into the state, and you would have because Richard Ryan was out there, and I know he had all sorts of.
I actually saw him the other day,
that sort of thing.
for the first time in 8 years.
Another tall motherfucker. Don't you? I just hate it. I just hate it. Everybody's fucking taller than me. I'm not a short man, but everybody.
Not that my fitness levels was comparable to yours, but I did start from a way shittier place than you did. But Richard also, I was so fat. I was 306 pounds when I started. I was the fattest ever.
Oh shit. I was
you looked like you were softer than you're destined to be. And I never got shredded like you fucking did. But Justin, I sent that to Justin. When you sent me that stuff, the only person I sent that shit to was to Justin. I was like, yo, look at fucking Kyle right now.
Well, to start already, I was already deep into Derek's channel. You know, like I already gone back. I was really like deep.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching
Derek.
like all his content. I went back and watched his he would talk about like looks max, which I never understood. I never heard this concept before. Where like I was just fascinated by like this whole world that I hadn't really been
Dating advice.
explored it. You know, other than like, you know, a couple books that became popular you see around or something, but the whole like looks max thing like just intrigued me. But then all this stuff like we were both enjoy, like back like Pumping Iron is one of my favorite like documentaries of all time. Like I love that movie. I loved all that stuff. I enjoyed it, and like Derek's just out here breaking it down. I was like, yes, this is the best. Just see it.
I love the scene in Pumping Iron when Arnold is having breakfast with Andre and Andre's father, and he's like, "Oh man, if you got a few more months."
It's such a good, accurate way to get in his head. Because it's like a compliment and polite, so we could say it without anyone getting mad about it. And he'd be like, "What are you so mad about? I'm complimenting you just a couple months."
And Arnold's like casually eating and drinking while he says it, like
so good.
like just and of course he's really punching down because Andre's fucking deaf and he has a heart. He's embarrassed by his voice.
Like,
he really
even,
can't
like,
even talk back.
It seemed like he had like learning disabilities because they didn't teach him as such because they thought something was wrong with him. So he's like, it's like literally bullying. Don't.
I always like how they set up the gym.
No. Like, Arnold's no mercy though.
I like how
the
they
Austrians
set up the
roll.
gym, like the gym class where,
You know?
where he's like in New York, you know, in his like basement working out, and they're like, "Here's."
You're
Louis.
thinking about that exact guy, eh? That fat dude that's on the side with curly hair. And he's watching, and he's like,
yeah.
Anyways,
I would be at the gym at like 3:30 in the morning, and I would have like Arnold's motivational speech on there. Or like in my home gym,
what was it called? Machiavelli
Motivation is one of the top.
And it was always like some like rich piano saying some shit, and like they got that music going in the back, and it's like you could either make a fucking difference right now, or you could be a bitch for the rest of your life. It's like some drop, and it's all these fucking veiny biceps. It's so funny when people were like, whenever people look at like super jacked, and they're like, girls don't like that. I'm like, who gives a shit? You think that person gives a shit about anybody? And he'll get any girl he wants.
What they
mean.
Any
guy he wants also.
Here's what they mean. And I don't mean, what they mean is it's like that meme where the good looking guy says something and she's like, "Oh," and then the dorky looking guy says the exact same shit and she's like, HR, help. They like good looking guys who are in shape. Okay, they don't care if you're don't think if you're some ugly meathead that getting your bench to 300 is going to get you pussy, because it absolutely
But
won't.
what if your looks
like if anything, do
you believe
now you're frightening. Now you can put a good scare in a girl, but you know, other than that, but yeah, that was fun. I'm about to do something similar. I think I want to like get super big again. I'm still okay, but I want to go through the whole process again, because for me, I can't just coast. I really like going hard in the paint. I like not maybe not to like a David Goggins
or did
level.
You have a different? He did your whole workout split.
Everything.
He did everything.
And how did he
listen? I watched his video. Like he was just like, Kyle, listen to everything, and I totally believe that you were just
I'll tell you this. So basically, we had I had been watching Derek's channel, and I was like, let's get this guy as a guest. Whenever I want to be good at a thing, I'll try to get close to the guy who's best at it in the world, or at least the one that I know of as being best at it. I've done that with video games over the years. I'll cozy up to the guy who's like the grand fucking champion, and get him to be on my team or whatever. And got Derek on the show, and then I started DMing with him about what I wanted to do and all these ideas. And I gained like 40 pounds of fat, which took like 3.5, 4 months of just eating like shit. Because I wanted to do the Mac transformation. You've seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I wanted to do the Fat Mac, and I didn't tell anybody. I told like 2 people in the world. I'm like, I'm going to do the Fat Mac. And when Derek was like, yeah, that sounds great. He did my split. He did my diet. He did my, he recommended what drugs to take and how much to take of them, what supplements to take, what my protein shake was going to be, what my split was, how to rest, what supplements to take to help with rest. And then I went beyond that. I went down the deepest rabbit holes on the internet, reading scientific journals about ice baths,
sleeping, how were your
fasting.
Yeah, same thing.
Was your sleeping dialed in?
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was excellent. It was excellent. So I did this during the pandemic, which and I didn't have a personal gym, which meant I had to go to like a public 24-hour
only
gym.
The sickest,
and
the most mentally sickest people got really fit during the pandemic. So that also makes sense that you did.
Yeah. Well, what I had to do was like completely change my sleep schedule. So I wanted to wake up at about 4 p.m. every day and get my breakfast in and start the day, because my workout is 3 a.m. So I need to be able to take a ton of caffeine at 2 a.m., which won't work on any sort of normal sleep schedule. So I'm getting hyped at 2 a.m. I'm taking like 500 milligrams of caffeine when I'm cutting. And I'm hitting the gym for an hour to 2 hours every single night. And then fasting a day a week.
500 milligrams, or you got something in the body? Oof.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm fasting and on like all sorts of shit. Fasting 24 hours every week. But still doing my cardio, like on those days.
Well, the way you look, you had
cardio.
to get to where you were at. You were committed to the game. It's not a fucking joke.
Oh, it looked like you were so dialed in. There was not even a single fucking Sour Patch Kid was getting through. Like nothing.
I bet you people were like, "Oh, you're cheating or whatever." It's like they don't understand that even if you cheat, you're not guaranteed
that's the
success.
Dumbest thing. When people,
it doesn't work that way.
People will like give too much credit to a supplement or a super supplement, is like, buddy, that's not the most important part here. That is not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
No,
it helps.
I bet the workout is banging. You're probably
what I imagine
it
helps with. Yeah, what I imagine it helps with is the encouragement that you're like, well, I just spent hundreds of dollars on this. I'm not going to waste it.
It's a big part of it.
And there's lots of intangibles like that. However, it does not take away from the fact that you're still.
And again, Derek was like part of this was like, I was like, I'll advertise for you. And so like, he told me I'm a sponsored athlete, I believe, but that's been a little while ago when he said that. But I don't have to pay full price for things. He's helped me out with like making things a little bit cheaper, and because there's a lot of blood testing that goes on, and that's like $300. Well,
that's why I like him, because he it's like when we were growing up, this was all like undercover. Like you couldn't find this information.
That's why we liked Rich Piana. Also, Rich Piana was up front, and that guy.
Well, he also was hilarious.
Pincushion.
He was also.
It was like a pin. The dude, the
young guy.
Boston Lloyd. The vascular.
Boston Lloyd.
3cc, yeah.
He really did the most, but he told
that video
everyone,
was crazy when it came out.
And you know what? Like you get like I always hated, because I liked Arnold and all that stuff, and I was aware of who was probably using and who wasn't since like 22 years old, and I always hated that fitness influencer that put themselves out there and acted like they were not doing super supplements. And you know what? Like, I'm not saying like, I'm just saying, just be upfront about it. You know,
dude, I saw the best meme the other day. The big jacked guy like finishes his bench. He reaches into his bag for like his secret product. He reaches past like his syringe, all of his vials, his fucking like the thing he ties his arm off with, all of his pillies, and then at the bottom is some creatine. He's like, "Yeah, this stuff right here it is." And it's like, I would say that you almost get double the results with on like a good dose of testosterone. Like when you're super physiological or whatever.
I forget that. I heard you just get double doses like of everything. Like that,
when you turn into an Uberman,
like you're just who you are supposed to be.
That's what it feels like. Like first you go through, like in the first 6 weeks, you go through like a second puberty. You get like acne on your shoulders, like want to fuck like 5 times a day, like, and then once it's fully kicked in and it's like in your system continuously, man, the gains you get, the strength gains are like shocking. Like, because I keep meticulous journals of this stuff, and you can see me getting 5 pounds, not a week, but every 3 days.
Months into it, that the journals are turning into like chicken scratch lines, broken pencil marks.
They really do. They literally do. Yeah.
I always said
it's pages and pages of gains.
I would fuck with it, because the first time I was talking about Sam Hyde way back, and I was like, honestly, if it's you injecting me in a stairwell, I'll do it right now. I'll jump right into it right now.
Are you worried about the needle?
No. Now that I'm thinking about it, talking about you, you know what? you and I, Ox Ranch, about to hunt zebras. You could fucking blast me with an injection for sure.
Test.
Well, see, you got to blast. See, that's the other thing. Like,
you don't want that Jewish ass in your face, eh?
No. Well, see, that's the other thing. Like, I inject every single day. Like, I made that part of my protocol. Most people do like once a week or maybe
like TRT you're
twice a
talking
week,
about, right?
But your levels, yeah. But your levels, that means they have these little spikes. You can imagine like a sound frequency line, like moving up and down. That's your testosterone level peaking and plateauing. But if you take it every single day, you get a very flat, continuous line without the big peaks and valleys. That does mean you shoot yourself in the arm every single fucking day.
Don't you get isn't it like, don't you get scarred up and like it's hard to?
I move it around.
So you're putting it on your shoulders and
because it's intramuscular.
You're getting like misfires and then like your arm is swollen for a day or something. That never happens to me.
So I never had a bad injection. Because what I do is I use insulin pens. So they're like 17 to 19 gauge needles. They're very 19 to 22 actually.
Small, right?
Like very small. And it's hard to push testosterone. No, the large higher the number, the smaller the needle. So like 17, 18, 19, 20, you're getting smaller. So it's this tiny, it's so small that you pull the plunger out of the back of it. And then you take a bigger needle, like a fat one. You draw your medicine out of your vial, and then you shoot it in the back.
That's a long shot. Then that's like
many.
It's not like pop in. If it's that small,
it takes a long time to push it. So what I learned to do was
a long time, like 25.
You're talking about a very tiny needle. This is like it's not meant to disperse like an oily. I'm sure the TRT is mixed with some type of substance as well, right?
Yes, that's the other thing. It's oil based, so they use linseed oil or something like that. So what I would do is heat it up and
exactly.
You're not hurting yourself because it's a thin needle, I guess.
It's to prevent the scar tissue and the pain, that goes along with it, because you don't want to be dreading your injections. You want to be looking forward to them. I also daily injected an entire pin of what's that shit called? Oh my god, I can't. It's been so long since I've used it. I injected this other stuff in my ass that's like a amino acid that helps with fat loss and also raises your testosterone levels to some extent. And that stuff is water based, so you could kind of shoot that fast in your ass.
You just put that in. It's like,
but But if you go too fast, you get this huge swollen spot that's like it turned your muscle into like a.
I've always wanted painful bruise to try it, to do it. And I just, I had buddies, especially like growing up in high school, like, there's always a few people who dabbled, and I was big into the gym back in the day, but my hair is.
How's your hair?
It's a bad scene.
He's ready. He's ready to do.
All right. So are you taking anything for your hair yet?
Never took anything for my hair. And also.
Took L's is what he took.
Is it too late?
Took L's. Yeah, exactly.
He's not trying to salvage the hair.
No, I'm not trying to salvage it.
He's not you, bro. He's not. He doesn't have that juvenile hairline brow that I don't know how you're still sitting on that bad boy.
I'm gonna tell you how. Like because it's dangerous doing that when you're taking steroids of any kind. That's gonna raise your testosterone and then thereby raise your DHT and then you're gonna start shedding hair. And some compounds are better at preventing that than others. But anyway, what I did was I started taking you've heard of Propecia before, I'm sure. Finasteride is the chemical. I take 1 milligram of that a day.
Take
forever.
Finasteride.
I started taking it.
You just being as I started super proactive. What did your hair do?
Yeah.
That you were like, no.
I that was the beauty of working with Derek. It's like, here's what you take if you have aromatization and you have high estrogen side effects. You got that drug ready to go. I never used that drug because I never needed it, but I had it. And so
it breaks it down on a whole other level, dude. That's why I love the channel. You'd just be going in on so many tangents on things. I'd be like, what? I don't even need this information, but I want to listen to it now. I want to understand it. Every type of drug.
But yeah, you're
talking about.
Oh no, you're saying your hair, like for someone like me, yeah.
So I take. I wanted to take it. I was like, hey, I'm worried about losing my hair when I start taking this. What can we do about that? And he's like, start taking finasteride as soon as you start taking the TRT. So I did, and I still do. It's very cheap. And then I also use this DHT blocking shampoo that I leave in my hair. Like the first thing I do in the shower is put it in, and then the last thing I do is wash it out. But when I was doing like that whole transformation, every day I did an hour in a hot salt bath. And so I would spend that hour with my hair like all soaked up with that DHT blocking shampoo for an hour. My hair would dry, and then like I'd been in that hot tub for so long, because I read that an hour in a hot tub burns as many calories as an hour long walk. And I was just walking 15,000 steps a day anyway. I couldn't bear to do anymore. So I just sat in that salty tub and burned calories.
Apparently like maximizes muscle growth as well. Apparently,
hope so.
That's what I've heard.
I also did. You ever do an ice bath?
I do. I did ice showers when I was the most zeroed in preparing to lose in boxing. I was doing cold showers, and then I did an ice bath, and the ice bath is so much more hardcore than the cold shower. But the cold shower as well is still fucking great. And it's not even close to the ice bath. How good you feel after.
I'm going to get a tank.
Yeah, I've been thinking about one too. I was at my buddy's place in Texas, and like he made me go in. And like I would just go in, and just right after, the day was just better. It was just a better day. It's like it's starting off. If you ever load up an RPG, and you're a guy that has a buff, you cast your buff first. Don't do shit until you buff yourself. The ice
cast Long Strider on the party.
This ice bath is basically like giving yourself a major buff.
It helps a lot with recovery, especially like when you're kicking off, like because I always start super hard in the paint. I don't like to stutter step. If you wanted to get into the TRT thing, though, Derek's site is health.com.
Is he Canadian?
It's like 700 and he's Canadian.
Doesn't he live in?
I thought he's up in my area, Alberta.
He's in Calgary.
No telling where he is these days. Very successful man, but he was originally in up there in the Great White North. I know they do business in the U.S. I don't know if they actually do clinic business in Canada, but well, I mean,
for sure. My fear was always like, you said you didn't want kids, right? Like you've decided that, right? And for me, I have a child.
Yeah, you would want to freeze some sperm.
I'm interested in having more children. And I know that it's not guaranteed, but it always like concerned me, because it's just like. Yeah, it
was a bonus.
You're like, oh, that's cool. Give me more, But it's weird now, because nowadays people, they blast and cruise. They don't just do cycles anymore. Or I thought that was the weirdest thing, because like back in the day, people would do a cycle. Everyone was doing a cycle of steroids, and they get super jacked, and then they would go off.
Like you would stop at a certain point and then get ready, reset to do it again, maybe a year or so later or whatever.
They don't the TRT lifestyle, the whole idea
at a regular level, and they're like, I'm going to blast it now. And I'm like, that's so crazy. You're just taking injections forever. That's it.
But also, like decades.
It's cheap.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's so it is injections forever. Now you could definitely come off
the longer you go, the harder it is
for
your natural testosterone to build back to where it was.
There are drugs to kick it to kickstart it, which I understand aren't 100% effective. The same with fertility. You don't know 100% effective, but by and large, it seems like maybe 75+% of the time, at least, you get everything going fairly quickly on the right cocktail of drugs. But my thing is, I did have low testosterone. I wasn't just like on a joyride. My test level was like 325, maybe something like that.
It's all that hair you have.
So I'd much rather
keeping your test low.
I'd much rather be like 1,000 or something like that. I want some Sammy Sosa levels. I'm not.
You got to get super physiological with it.
Yeah, get all jacked up on goofballs and get.
But doesn't it feel weird that you have to rely?
And also you heal better.
Like you rely on this forever now. Like if something goes wrong in the supply chain,
I rely on so many things.
Happens, you're like, oh shit, I can't.
You don't rely on it. He doesn't rely on it. Like he could, if he were to stop.
I could absolutely go cold turkey and I'd be fine. I'd get a little depression, but I'd come out of that.
But what would be the?
Yeah, I have the drugs. I have drugs.
Reliability though, no, like moods or like it would be a mental thing, right? Right, that would be.
I've got enough drugs to like go cold turkey and kickstart my system if I wanted to do that. But I wouldn't want to do that. So, the way I look at it, and I get your point. It's like, if it ever, but that's like everybody, right? Like how are we going to survive? If they can't make testosterone anymore, then man, the world has just crumbled into nothing.
What am I gonna do if I can't get my Adderall? How am I gonna be a YouTuber if I can't get my Adderall?
Oh, and then the other thing is, I think it's pretty easy to like make your own testosterone if you get on enough the steroids subreddit and the steroids DIY.
Dude,
they do that shit.
Peptides in Bubby's bathtub.
Do you know where Tren comes from? Like Trenbolone
comes from a bathtub.
That's fucking horse steroids. They have to. My understanding, the way that people like get Tren, they take these capsules that are meant to be injected subcutaneously into a goddamn racehorse. Like there's this gun that like ka-chunk shoots a capsule of steroids into the steroids like rump, and then it slowly dissolves over time.
Is that why Tren's
levels and making a better fucking
stories out there? Anyone who taken Tren.
Yes, because they take that thing that's supposed to be injected into a racehorse's ass, and they do some chemistry to it and melt it down and make a whole different drug for people.
Sex with their wall or something, you know, they're like they can't handle it. They're like losing their shit.
It's the drug usually associated with really dry, extreme gains, and also some psychological mayhem.
There's also
I've been on a few of those.
Clenbuterol, Clen is like a liquid that's for horses with asthma, and when we take it, it just jacks your heart rate up, and you cut fat like crazy. Bro, this is biohacking. How familiar are you with Dr. Huge, by the way?
I don't think I know Dr. Huge.
We're gonna love Dr. Huge. He's off YouTube now. Yeah,
you can't even show him.
He's a biohacker. He like would like do these things, like he kind of like would like take these needles that would make his dick hard and tan and make him tan.
Hold on, so you gotta set up. He lives in
I've taken that before. I've taken that. That's melanotan. It's melanotan 2. Yeah, I used to inject that shit.
You need to see melanotan 1 to be able to inject melanotan 2? Or?
I don't know what happened to melanotan 1. I guess it's like
you don't want to know what happened to melanotan.
Zyklon A, you know, like the one you could smell. But they took the smell out of it, and you got melanotan 2. And what you can change your this is literally verbatim what Derek told me. Derek, like when you communicate with him, he sends you like 5-minute voice note. It's like a personal video.
My trainer Louis Marco does the same thing. He like would send me like a long like 8-minute voice note, and I have to have no one around. And
but he's like kind of clowning you sometimes, though, Louis. I feel like Derek's not clowning you.
Yeah, my guy, like my trainer, like he'd send me a thing, and he was like, "So disappointed, Harley, that you lost your boxing match. It's okay. It's okay. It just, I'm very disappointed. I imagine you're disappointed." And then when I went like to Burning Man, he's like, "So you go to Burning Man? I don't know what this is. I'm reading. It is this anti-capitalism." And I'm going to stop reading right there. Harley, how are you anti-capitalist? I mean, everything you do is capitalist. But he's always right also, you know, and like, cause I'm
like paganism for your people.
More of like a nuanced person with things, but like at a glance for him, he'll look at this and be like, "That's dumb." But no, he's great. He's awesome. But you're saying, yeah, Derek sends voice notes also.
Oh yeah, like long, in depth, and with the melanotan, he's like, "You can straight up change your race with this shit. Dude. Be careful." He's like, "I know a guy. He changed his. He turned black. He become a black man if you want." And I was like, "All right, I'll be careful." And I did like double the injection that he told me to do, because why not? It's easy to do, and you like pump it into your belly fat, and then an hour later you jump in the tanning bed. It's very important that you do all those things. You inject belly fat, an hour goes by, then tanning bed for a good solid session. Got to do that. Here's why. It like hyperactivates your like pigment releasing, like whatever. And so if you don't get in that tanning bed and get those UV rays to activate everything, it just makes these dark spots all over your body and turns you into a gross Dalmatian man. And so that's why I quit. I got like maybe 3 tiny specks, like one on my shoulder, one on my back, that are black as night.
You don't want any of that.
Like, I didn't want any of that. I'm like, dude, I just wanted to get jacked and tan. I didn't want to become a Dalmatian.
The stage there, there's a link. Not the first one. It's Justin Trudeau at my house. But the second one is just this guy's before and after. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah. I've seen.
So Dr. Huge would take this, like the guys he was with, and it would get them.
Well, Dr. Huge was in.
And they would
Thailand.
go and
Oh, it is for boners
Yeah,
too, right?
It was in Thailand, and then he would be like, "Yeah, we took this, him and that guy Connor Murphy," and then they'd be like, "And now we're gonna go to the lady boys area and see if we can maybe not get hard."
They're like cutting like
that.
crazy videos in between all of it.
And then like R.I.P. One of the guys that lives with him, another YouTuber, was found dead in his bedroom. And
someone did a show with Derek actually, like a biohacking kind of.
Who, Leo did?
Known guy. Yeah, he did. Yeah, him and Derek were on like a
okay, that's cool. Yeah,
show before.
Yeah, R.I.P. to him. He had a lot of fans and stuff, but there was no answers as to why this guy was found dead, and then Dr. Huge was taken off YouTube. And I think his name is Enhanced Athlete on Snapchat. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that if he's banned, but yeah, I watched some of his stuff there. Yeah. But it's just such a bizarre little thing, because like even when his friend died, like the next day he had a video up being like taking Viagra and going to the shooting range with lady boys.
Yeah,
and it's like, damn, how'd you choose
strange behavior
for that when your boy was found dead, and how do you choose the thumbnail for the lady boy firing range?
You're doing Q&As.
Have you seen those AI generated like if Harry Potter was on steroids and it like shows all the characters super jacked?
And I love the names they give them too.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they're fucking hilarious. Hermione Granger, like that's what I did to my whole family, dude. Gator's on roids. Gator's fucking yoked.
Yeah.
Like everybody, I was like, look, this is the website. Talk to the doctor. If you just do everything as quickly as it comes to you, you'll have all your shit in 7 days. And it's like $700 to get started. I think it's just the best.
My family's out there just on Ozempic. That was probably the biggest diss I got, was like someone, when I was losing weight, someone was like, you started taking Ozempic? And I was like, no, dude. No. I would be injecting steroids before I injected that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
HGH is what I'm afraid of. Like I wanted to do HGH.
You don't want to have like a Ninja
and that was
belly.
I'm worried that it would make a tumor that I don't know about grow.
Or your skull would be shaped like mine.
I don't want to, or Joe Rogan. I don't want to like Joe Rogan. His skull has definitely grown, and it's from the HGH, I believe. I wouldn't worry about the gut thing so much.
Isn't the gut thing like insulin?
Because I feel like
insulin.
I've heard that too. I thought about using insulin before, but the only insulin that you
dose it really incorrectly and fuck up.
Yeah. So I didn't know anything about insulin, but someone had explained it to me that there's like 3 different release speeds for insulin or something. And it's like fast release, ultra fast release. And you're like, oh, that's the fast one, huh? No, it's like super mega duper ultra fast release. And I didn't know that you want the fastest one, I guess. Again, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just know this is true. And so I got the medium one from like Walmart, because you can just straight up walk in there, tell them you're diabetic, and ask for a vial. And I think it was for fat loss, or maybe it was for like dumping all of the that initial bit of energy that your body has when you start cardio. That it's like dumping that, so you immediately go into fat burning mode or something. I think that maybe that was my understanding of why I was taking this insulin. In any case, oh my God, I could feel my like blood sugar level immediately plummet, and it felt like I was going to pass out. And I was just like, well, we're not going to the gym. This was a huge fucking mistake. I'm going to spend the next hour drinking orange juice. And that was the only way I stayed conscious, I think. Was like fighting off that dose of insulin I gave myself with a gallon of orange juice. So that was a big mistake. I would not.
Kind of a biohacker, actually.
Well, I mean, Derek's a biohacker, and I just sort of like follow to some extent his tutelage. Definitely, like I said, the split, the diet, all that shit was all Derek.
Yeah. Wow. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to you, by the way. Thanks for coming on the podcast. This is huge. It obviously makes sense. One of my first ever YouTube colleague friends to come on and do the longest one we've ever done, which is, I guess you're used to. You've been banging out 4 hours forever on the
yeah, I did an hour before we started.
An hour before here. Where should anyone check out? I know YouTube on PKA.
I'll just come over to Woody's Gamertags channel and watch PKA, where we've been doing a podcast there. For anyone listening to this who isn't aware, for like a decade or something like that. No,
really like for real.
Well, in any case, in case you're not aware, come and watch one of our thousands. I don't know how many episodes we have. It's a bunch
definitely
of them.
go check it out. It is a podcast I've been on many times. Great guys, great dudes. Definitely check them out. Kyle, my man, thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, you were
really
the first. Lynch had you like first of the list right away. I hit you up a while back. It didn't work out. I was like, oh, well, it'll circle back. We'll get it. Like, and then
yeah, I just like shooting the shit. So anytime
you got to come back again soon, because this is like we covered a lot of time. We don't have fucking Woody here. We cover a lot of shit. No, I'm joking. I actually love Woody. No, it's funny. Yeah. No, thanks for coming on, and shout out to Lynch holding it down. Myself as well, guys. Leave a
thank you very much.
Comment.